definitely editing this part out.
Yeah, we definitely got to.
I don't know. We opened up the last episode with
Oh my God.
how Coke is brought to the world by slavery.
Yeah. Yeah, like that whole section is getting scrapped.
That's how it was when we went to Hershey.
That section didn't get scrapped.
Oh yeah, you're right.
When we went to Hershey, and Charles like, check out the museum, and we're like going through the thing. I'm like, Hershey's super exploited Cubans.
Yeah, dog. Oh
They had a
no.
Hershey's baseball team.
Sort of. So Hershey is the only successful company town.
Yeah, true.
Because it still exists.
No, it was just successful.
Yeah, the only one.
So Hershey, Pennsylvania, and Hershey, Cuba, they were run the same way.
Right. Yeah.
Because there was a Hershey, Pennsylvania baseball team. There was they did the same thing in both places.
But
and
Cubans are good at baseball.
Probably because Hershey introduced it.
Yeah.
Like
They introduced the first competitive sport
Yo,
to Cuba.
Cubans and Dominicans are born with at least a 65-mile-an-hour fastball. They're just born
It's
with
actually-
it.
they just come out with
figured
heat.
out-
Yeah, they just come
You
out
figured out
with
where the sugar originated from. It was actually chocolate.
It's actually, they're like,
They just start.
so that's actually so Hershey actually did Hershey, Cuba to protect his sugar needs for his company.
Right, yeah.
And Hershey, Pennsylvania was because he was in the middle of Pennsylvania dairy farms.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why he had and he never got around to doing the chocolate town. I don't know where he would have put that at. Somewhere in South America, I guess.
Like he wanted us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was ever in his plans to do it, but he did do. That's why Cuba was he had Hershey, Cuba, and Hershey,
I
Pennsylvania.
mean, he could have probably gone to Argentina, but some other white dudes already got ahead of him on that one.
I don't think they grew up. Damn it. That was before that happened. Hershey is before that.
He's got to be a trendsetter. He can't go to the same place.
Oh, but you know the reason why the Hershey's company town worked and none of the other ones did. All the other ones failed miserably.
because they were the first one?
No, it's because Hershey
Workers at Equity
was an actual genuine human being and not a robber baron asshat.
Gotcha, okay.
And he also had the idea that if people were invested in the town,
yeah.
it would succeed. So instead of renting their
They did
houses to
equity.
them at a huge astronomical rate, he gave them very favorable interest rates to purchase land and houses in the town.
Oh, okay. So they would be invested
They were
in it.
invested.
He legit made like a, not a colony, but almost a colony, like a legit one.
And Hershey, Pennsylvania is still the same way today. It's like that town is run basically there to run the factory. It's really cool. If you're ever in Hershey, Pennsylvania, go by. It's really cool. And the museum is, if you like history, it's good.
It's pretty cool.
Now, the bad thing was, during the tasting flight of chocolates we did at the end,
The tasting, they're like, here's 6 chocolates from around the world, and you can drink them because they're hot chocolate. And you're like, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And you get the last one, that's Hershey's chocolate, and you're like, you just did an advertisement for why your chocolate's not that good, bro.
it's like everyone gets better and better and better, and then you get to the last one, it's Hershey's, and it's like, oh, this is not good.
Yeah, you're like, this is just chocolate.
You just proved I need to go explore the world some more. You're like, I need to get out of the United States.
They bring all these little shot glasses of chocolate.
Okay.
That are legit good, yeah.
Maybe you drank them in the wrong direction.
I mean, they specifically tell you to do this one last.
You read
that's
the
crazy.
drink chart backwards.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they do tell you to do it in a specific order.
All right, so let's get this show started. I'm Charlie,
I'm Charles.
and you are listening to or watching the Boo Hurt Is Love podcast, the dopest podcast for all things Boo Hurt or Armored Combat,
The dopest.
on the internet. We are joined today by none other than Adam Harrigan.
Howdy.
Adam is one of the best flanky boys in the nation.
In the world.
In the
honestly.
world?
Yeah.
Too
Flanker
kind.
2,
Yeah.
kind of a hybrid build.
Yeah.
What, hybrid build between what?
A
Flanker
2
and
and
a
a
two.
flanker.
Okay.
You're like in between. You can do
Well,
both.
My mind doesn't.
Okay.
My mind does not adhere to those paradigms.
Most flankers can't grapple. You can.
It's because they're too busy running, which honestly, I get it.
Yeah.
I don't want to grapple people either. That's
Yeah.
why I run.
I'd rather not, yeah.
So,
I'd rather run and swing.
Yeah, exactly. Get your licks in and scoot away before you can get got.
Exactly.
Or as they say in football, I'm going to get mine more than I get got, though.
I'm going to get got, but I'm going to get mine more than I get got.
though. It's the best.
So while I was driving here in a fit of phenomenal driving display, I forgot to ask y'all what this episode was about.
We never know, Charles.
Well,
we never know. We just
one
start
day we
recording.
will.
And the title's whatever I pull out of my butt when I upload it to YouTube.
Excellent.
There we have it.
The title gets about 15 seconds of thought because YouTube's like, what would you like to title this episode?
And you're like,
I guess it needs a title. We could do the Rogan thing where it's just like number whatever.
God, no, please. We just told them we weren't gonna do that.
Well, they're all numbered once they get uploaded.
Yeah, true.
Should I talk about what my credentials are?
I mean,
Do you want me to do
absolutely.
that?
I mean, I guess most of the people watching the podcast don't actually know who you are.
I'd hope so. I hope you guys reach a really wide audience for like, I don't know, these are just some Americans that talk about random bullshit on YouTube.
Yeah. All 160 of us.
So, much like these two gentlemen beside me, I'm also a member of the Dallas Warlords and Team Dominus. We've won.
To be clear, he's Dominus.
4?
We're not.
Well, I think collectively we've won 4 world titles. We won every melee category at IMCF last year, and then Team Dominus in 2023 we won the BI World Cup, and then we got World Cup coming again this year, and we're coming in hot, which would be great.
And then we joined the Dominus guys for quals for IMCF, and then we took a bunch of golds at IMCF.
Dominus
in
and
Mexico.
Warlords are multi-time national champions in both IMCF, Bohurt League, and HMB when HMB was around, at least in the rest of the world. I guess I got some pretty good pro fight accolades.
Pretty good.
You've just been chasing the AMMA stuff. How's that going?
I did. I caught 2 L's the last 2 weeks.
2 L's? Whoa, what? We got the wrong guy on the podcast.
It's been.
We're supposed to bring people with doves, man.
I've not had an L in 3 years. Had a pretty good streak going, and I caught 2 L's in the last 2 weeks. So, it is what it is.
You had to fly across the country to get the L's,
Dude,
too.
Fly across the country to catch an L.
Who'd you fight?
Last week I fought Jordan Rank, whom I had beaten in an IMCF pro fight, but then we did AMA and he beat me. Tough.
I did not see that
tough,
coming.
very close fight. But I mean, make some mistakes, you end up losing a fight. Jordan's very good. And he's gotten much better too.
Cool.
And then I caught an L the week after that to my teammate Alex Doss. But outside of that,
Are you fighting in Houston in May?
no, I'm not, unfortunately. We got other stuff going on. I know we got Siege coming up for that, and then really we've been planning and getting ready for Worlds, so that's off the table until Worlds are over, then we'll get back into pro fighting. But I got plans for that. I don't like catching L's. I don't like it at all. It's bad.
Adam's like, I need refights?
Yeah. But-
I need refights.
But I mean, it is what it is, man. You catch some L's along your career, it's like it's gonna happen. But I had a pretty good streak for a while. Had been like 3 years before I caught one. But right now I'm still the crown holder for AMA at the super welterweight weight category.
Super welterweight.
175 instead of 170 pounds.
Gotcha, okay.
Or somewhere in the vicinity of 80 kilograms. 77.
Nobody knows what
to
that
80
is.
kilograms. It's for the people across the water.
Nobody
We don't
cares.
use those numbers because they suck.
We don't use commie units. We're in
We don't use
Texas.
common units, no. But yeah, I got some pretty good.
How many bald eagles do you weigh? That's what I want to know.
How much does a bald eagle weigh?
I don't know. Let's find out.
Oh, this is about to be.
I bet
so
a bald
good.
eagle's way heavier than we think it is.
No, it's
'cause
like, it's
massive.
significantly lighter. It's significantly lighter.
How much does a bald eagle weigh?
I know it's lighter than the great horned owl.
According to U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, distinguished in the adult plumage.
Average 10 pounds.
Okay. So you weigh
So,
about
you weigh, what,
17 and a
190?
half,
Right now, I'm 183.
183, so you're 18 bald eagles.
18 bald eagles.
Hell, yeah, that's a lot of freedom, buddy.
That's a whole
18 bald eagles, Adam.
So many.
But anyway, I got
baby.
some pro fight accolades, national championship winner in a couple different leagues. But really, my passion is I love doing pro fights. Love watching MMA when I was a kid. But for the most part, I mean, melees is my bag.
Oh,
I got
yeah.
into the sport from doing melees. Actually, I got in the sport a couple years after these guys did.
Yeah.
Freaking.
I mean,
they're like,
it took some time to convince you to leave the foam world.
2017, 2018 rolled around. They're like, hey, we're doing armor combat. You want to get on this? And I was 158,
You was a
150
small boy.
pounds.
Yeah.
At the time, I was like, hell no. You got me messed up on that. And then,
That was actually before we collectively lost a bus, right?
yeah, before the team lost a bust of weight.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I dropped 50 pounds. Brett dropped like 100.
Yeah, bro,
Yeah.
my goodness.
Austin dropped like nearly 100. Brendan dropped 50 pounds.
And then me and Sean went the opposite direction.
Yeah, you and Sean went the opposite direction. Charles went the opposite
Yeah,
direction.
yeah, I
But,
went up too.
But
But yeah, I think around 2018 is when we opened the academy, and I didn't want to do boher at the time or armored combat, but I was like, I'll definitely help you guys
it was still a
practice.
dirty
'Cause-
foamy.
well, for foam fighting, you only really need to do like interval training. So I was doing a lot of interval training, inspired by a lot of the stuff like Bruce Lee was doing. So I was like, I can get you guys ready. So we started doing mace workouts, kettlebells, and sprints and stuff. And you guys are like, my back hurts. I'm like, yeah. Well, you're bending over a lot doing kettlebell swings, so your back's gonna hurt. Oh, battle ropes too. But
You know, we still have never gotten a bigger kettlebell. It's been 6
We'll add
years.
that to the list.
It's been 6 years, Coach Adam.
that's not my fault.
I mean, you're the only one here that works at the academy, so I'm going to yell at you.
True, yeah.
6 years I've been asking for a bigger
Yeah.
kettlebell.
6 years.
Oh yeah, that's I guess another thing. I'm the fitness instructor at the academy, along with teaching skills training and stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, so we opened the academy, and I was helping these guys get ready, doing conditioning work and stuff. And then I knew somewhere along that time, I was like, I'll probably want to do the sport eventually, but I need to get stronger. So I started just lifting 5 times a week, doing the same exact workout 5 days in a row.
Yeah.
You've put on a ton of muscle mass.
Put on like 20 pounds. I'm like, I sit at 183, 185. It's probably 83 kilograms on the low
so
end.
you do cut down to the 170?
I just died down to 10 pounds, which is pretty easy. I just go into calorie
That is
deficit.
not easy,
It's
asshole.
easy for me. I just eat less food.
Yeah, I know. What Taylor Jones said is he says that I think it's like the day before he has to do weigh-ins, he just doesn't eat any carbs and doesn't drink any water, and it puts him exactly where he needs to go.
Yeah,
Do you know what happened if I didn't do that for a day? I'd weigh exactly the same thing.
that does work. I just haven't experimented enough to see if I know for 100% that's going to work. I know over 6 weeks, I'm like, dude, if I diet down, I'll get down to the weight I have to be at. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, for Emma, I can be at 175. But I normally sit at 185. The highest I've been is 193.
So what are the different pro fight leagues currently? At least the major ones. 'Cause there's like 4 now, right?
So I'll just go by rule sets because that's what people are going to use, even though there's different leagues and stuff like that. The 3 major rule sets are we have Boer International Pro Fight rules and IMCF Pro Fight rules. And then you have AMMA, which is Armored MMA. Those are the 3 major rule sets. There's different organizations who run their own events. Like Golden Ring just used the BI rule set, but before that they had their own rule set. There's AMA uses their own rule set. You have Rogers thing out on the East Coast with Armored AF, which I believe they use the IMCF rules.
I think they are IMCF. Yeah.
And then you have it's called the Armored League, which is in New York. I don't know what rule set they use. And then you have PWR in Poland, and PWR basically used the old WMFC rules, but now they have their own rules, which are, I think, BI rules.
All right.
There's slight differences between those rules, but regardless.
So for those of you that know what a pro fight is, it's just a spicy singles match.
Yeah, it's you've probably seen it.
It's
you've probably seen that if you've seen really any word.
it's UFC with weapons.
Yeah.
It's
very fun to watch. Actually,
it's probably the ultima of armored combat. That as far as like it's going to demand ground fighting, conditioning, weapon striking, different tactics and macro skills and stuff like that. At least in a one-on-one scenario.
I think your best pro fighters do translate very well to 5v5s.
Oh yeah, very much.
Yeah,
so.
dude. Even like Marcin, who's a really established pro fighter, I watched him do one melee round, and the guy who he came up against was not like amazing, but Marcin basically immediately came out, threw a freaking inside kick, and then dumped him on his ass, and then just cross-checked someone off his feet.
I think it's gonna be interesting to see as the melee categories develop more into the 10v10, 12v12s, as the kind because I'm I'm a firm believer that's the new baseline for the sport. As we continue to grow,
Yeah,
that
so
will
you get more and
become
more fighters, more and more
the category that is 5v5 today.
Yeah.
And 5v5s will go the way of 3v3s.
Yeah.
For the same reason 3v3s suck. 3v3s end up being a bunch of one-on-ones. And 5v5s still today break down into a bunch of 1v1s. And if you are better than your opponent in a one-on-one, you will win. And that's pro fight, right? So,
Okay, yeah. Pro fight has definitely a lot of 1v1 skill stuff.
Yes.
The only issue you run into is obviously all the field stuff that we all like in our melees that those guys just don't have.
Yeah.
And that really kind of kicks them in the ass. I mean, even the top melee teams in the world right now are moving around the field a lot more than they used to.
Yes.
And there a lot more cross checks and stuff are happening. And there's a lot more skills intermixing.
That's got to do with the great meta shift.
Yeah, the real
right?
meta, yeah.
So once the 2v2 meta came out and became
2-1-2. Yeah.
the 2-1-2 meta came out, and I think the Warlords were really the first team to really establish that and drive that home.
In the U.S.
In the U.S.
Yeah, maybe Iron Phoenix before then, but we
Iron-
were also
it
influenced
was-
by
but
their
I mean, we crossed over with
Yeah.
I mean, that was the two of Iron Phoenix guys came over to Warlords.
yeah.
And kind of developed that, fully fleshed out that 2-1-2 meta that initially came from the high-end Eastern European teams.
Yeah.
They had just started doing it before everything got Roned. Then Craig Ivey, Brett Skinner, Colin Campbell kind of really put the polish on the 2-1-2. And the 2-1-2 at its basis, before we started getting to where it's evolving to today, was just, we're not going to screw up, and we're going to outgrind you on the rail, and we're going to be the better team. And because of that, it stopped the motion. Because before this, we had fat guy bumper cars, everybody ran all over the list. Right?
Yeah.
Very true. The best teams ran a chaos meta. That was old Ordo, right?
What a time, the chaos meta.
And so once this 2v2 came out with people that were good grapplers, we're just not going to leave the rail. Cool, we're going to put your rail guy down. We're up 5-4, and we're going to win. You got to do something now.
Yeah.
Spin your circles in the list and get tired, right?
Yeah.
But with the advent of Kenyas and their 2-2-1, well, their 2-1-2 with a loose rail or the loose 2 or whatever you want to call it, right? They're running two. They're really running two centers because that loose 2 plays as a center.
Absolutely.
That started bringing the motion back.
The largest medieval combat tournament in the world is coming to Texas. 20 countries and their best fighters, and a battle for blood and glory. Are you ready for the heaviest steel clash of 2025? For the first time ever, witness never before seen formats. 150 versus 150, and capture the flag mass battles. World-class duels that will set your blood boiling. Polearm, longsword, sword and shield, buckler, and even a triathlon. This is the real deal. The best and the best, only with INCF. Can't make it? Watch every clash live from the comfort of your
Motion
home.
back.
Sort of, yeah. I definitely agree with you for the most part when the 2-1-2 got really popular. There are certain teams that when we had the rail, we say rail, what we mean is the rail was a 4x4, not a 4x4 with a
Shelf.
So this is the pre-shelf meta.
So you
and
could actually like
you can
chicken wing
hook
on
into
that
it
rail.
really good. So if you're a strong person, the whole thing was like doing snap downs and stuff and using the rail as a fulcrum to really insulate, as in you're really anchoring onto the rail.
And also like a
And-
base, using
And
it
it
as
was
a base.
real boring to watch.
It's real boring
Yeah.
to watch. A lot of times matches would go to like one guy gets down, it's 4 versus 5 for 5 minutes, and then the round time's out. Now that was really popular with a lot of the Russian teams, and because Russian teams were doing it, other teams reacted to it and got
White Company.
White Company was really famous for it, and they're really good at it. There were teams before that though that even when the rail did exist, there were teams who were using a 2-on-2 but with a floater, like we mentioned before with Kenyas, or they would do some type of shifting between the 1s and the 3s. And a lot of that was like Partisan. Partisan was really famous for it because these other teams were so stagnant even then. They were going to use a lot of motion and subterfuge and stuff to really break up the field and start causing some unbalances.
Yep.
But then once we shifted the shelf, There's no more rail, and teams are reacting. And then you could see it like a very visual reaction the teams were having, where they're like didn't know what to do. They're like, I'm going to go to the rail for safety, and they just get taken down for on nothing.
Also, the negative space takedowns came about.
Yeah,
and we were really the first team to capitalize on the negative space meta.
Yeah, I would say so.
And that really,
when you say negative space takedown,
if we're both on the rail, I'm going to take you down between me and the rail. I'm going to replace me. I'm going to minus myself out of the space and push you in it. Negative space takedown.
Yeah.
Space.
Or like in concept, we could say like we're both standing there. I'm going to create a wedge up underneath your center of gravity. And then I'm going to take you with me. We're going to move, and then I move that wedge out from under you, and you fall.
You don't have any balance.
And you're pinning them between you and the rail, so they can't move. They can't step out.
And as an emergent thing that probably happened around 2020. 2023. I say as it's like developed or whatever. There was only like one Russian team doing that, and that was Bayard, and they had one really good.
they won,
he was literally, I think the guy's a master of sport in Russia. And that dude put the heat on people, and it looked disgusting. And then we were watching that, and we started developing that into our
the first
own
Prime I
tactics.
watched Bayard won. That's actually the only one I've watched completely through. Bayard won.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now judo has taken over as the primary meta.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're even seeing a lot of judo is being used a lot for people's takedowns, but there's people still have to learn grappling and other joint manipulation things to really learn how to actually grapple with weapons and shields.
Joint manipulation is illegal.
No, joint locks are illegal.
Totally
Joint
illegal.
locks are illegal. Joint manipulation is not.
Yeah, I was wondering about this. So
Here we are cheating legally again.
once again. Okay.
You know how many people will armbar themselves if you twist their weapon?
I do it to myself all the time.
Like if you grab somebody's weapon and just like twist it over the rail, they will armbar themselves, completely forgetting that they can let go of the weapon.
Yeah.
Especially axe dudes. They
you
don't
go.
like getting rid of those two-handers. They don't like getting other hands on their axes. It does not make them feel comfortable.
Hot tip of the day.
I think Johnny calls it Lego arms. And once you hear the word, you can't not unsee it. People walk up like this, or they have their axe in both their hands like this, and they won't freaking let go of it. And you're just Lego arming it. Like, I don't know what that means. But it's anyone you ever see who runs across the field, they got a two-handed axe, and they go, they just can't go like...
Adam
They just can't grapple, bro.
Adam just called out like everybody that needs to put down the axe. All of you.
To be fair, I did it at
And you.
IMCF at one point.
And you. And you as well.
Especially you.
And this guy.
Spending that 3 years grappling on the rail with a two-handed axe, I have zero problems grappling with a two-handed axe now.
It's pretty easy, yeah.
It was miserable the first 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
There's some things I'm like, man, you got we talk about it in practice. We call it hammers and nails. Like a person has a two-handed axe, they're the hammer, and everyone else is nailed. They're like, I gotta use this thing.
Yeah, I have to hit somebody with
I have to bonk.
So one of the things I found when I switched to two-handed axe is the first couple of tournaments we went to, my brain locked up. Because
sure.
I had other things that I needed to think about, and I didn't know which one to choose. Can I smack them with this hammer? Do I just go knock? I don't know what to do, and I would literally freeze up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really big thing with me. If you look at most of my fights early on, I spent so much time in the middle of the field just standing there and watching and looking at people. So I'm like, I could hit that guy, but if I hit that guy's definitely gonna just hands on me, and I got an axe. I don't want to do that. So then I'm just sitting here watching most of this match happen.
I mean,
as opposed to
the weapon familiarity is an entire skill in our sport. Like
very true.
The way they use your weapons to create natural processing, to be able to use your weapons with different striking skills, not just the axe, not just your sword, not just your shield, but kicks, grappling, and then all that flowing together. It takes time. It's a whole skill.
No, it's also it changes depending on what weapon you're using too.
Yeah.
So if you have a 6 foot two-handed axe, that's different than a little 3.5, 4 foot cowboy axe, right? Or a one-handed axe.
Yeah, and it really I would say, because people can't. I don't know if people can visualize that, but it's any axe that's basically below your sternum is probably a short axe. Anything above it is going to be a longer axe, and really anything over your shoulder is probably a pole arm.
I mean, so most guys are actually fighting with the one that might come up to their navel.
Yeah, short.
That's
short
that little
axes,
short
yeah.
cowboy axe thing that is not let's be honest.
It's-
Don't carry that.
Yeah,
it's bad.
It's probably not.
You give no, because you give all the reach as a 2.
Yeah.
You can't support your one with that axe. You can make an argument for it if you're a center, but great. You should be using a longer axe anyway. You're a freaking center.
Yeah, you should be able to reach out and touch
So there's some I think stylistic benefit to using the short axe, and it's like if you're
Playing in hard mode?
not playing in hard mode, it's just the type of person that is, dude. When we're at Prague at World Cup, the French ninja was walking around with an axe. I think it was like maybe 3 feet long.
You just have a hard on for the French ninja because he's your
dude,
hero.
He one tapped somebody off of a 2-step.
Yeah.
Like he came
I
off
saw
the
him
line.
do that with a long sword.
Pump faked at the dude, took 2 steps, smoked the dude in the back, and instantly dropped and was like, it's not like
He was running around doing that with a freaking falchion at in Scotland. He's just a badass, man.
well.
But see,
I
also,
don't
but I mean, also to your
he
point
is,
too.
but like,
I mean, he is.
But also to your point too, because like a falchion is never going to be as long as a pole arm, but it still has its uses. So like
It's scary.
I could definitely see how.
The only time I see a two-handed falchion having a use is for Austin's backup because he has an indestructible one. It's the only weapon he's never broken.
no, I think falchions actually
A
the
one-handed
more-
falchion.
I mean, a 2-handed falchion. The more violent you are, the more they actually are good.
Yeah.
I'll tell you 2 people I'm actually like I don't want to get hit by that and who use 2-handed falchions. Guess who I'm thinking of?
One's got to be Austin.
Colin
3.
Martineau.
Colin
Colin Martineau.
Colin Martin and
dude, God, man. Colin, I haven't.
we'll say
I
Austin.
forgot.
I wasn't thinking about Austin, but
I
Yeah,
forgot how-
you remember that version of Colin Martineau.
My kidney, okay, my kidney's still hurting.
Yeah.
I'm getting phantom kidney pain now.
Also, Dylan Sweeney, dude.
Yeah, that hog splitter. Yeah,
Here's the deal.
Because the issue
I
is
don't want Dylan to hit me with anything.
no, the issue is it's the whole weapon does damage.
Mm-hmm.
If you get past the axe head, you're like, oh, I can take the shaft. That's not that big of a deal. But dude,
Hold up.
it's
If
like
you have to start a sentence with "I can take the shaft,"
I can take the shaft, but I can't take the blade, bro.
dude. He's afraid of the tip. The shaft is fine.
Yeah, the tip is no go. But
This
when
is
they got the
totally
sword,
becoming a YouTube short.
you can't take the whole thing, bro.
Future me, cut this out right now.
Yeah, I think. Well, it's like what weapons people choose to use in like a squad or whatever. And when dudes use a 2-handed axe, like a short 2-handed axe or a falchion, in my head I categorize him as the guy in your squad who has a freaking shotgun.
yeah.
Like he's running and just blasting dudes.
I mean, if you look at Arlen from was it 20? Oh God, that was 2 years ago now.
Son Arlen Jackson.
Yeah. And in Spain, he uses one of them. He uses a real short axe, and he was doing work with it. But he also most of the time he runs. He's running most.
I
of
just
the
think
time.
as an axe guy, you give up so much range,
Yeah, you do.
and like
I would like to see how hard I can swing.
I do agree.
because I feel like it's way easier mechanically.
I do
to
agree with you.
swing
You
hard.
give up a lot with it, but you
Because-
give up the versatility for more specialization.
especially from like a 2 position. Like that cowboy axe is useless as a 2
Yeah,
because you cannot cover your 1 effectively.
unless you just plan on leaving it anyway.
Man, if I
Because I have faced off against a bunch of 2s, me being in a 2 slot with the 6-foot axe, which is what I prefer to fight
I know
with.
exactly what tournament you're probably talking
And
about
then-
too.
I mean, I've done it.
Talking about the cow patty place at Sherwood Forest. That's across the street from Sherwood Forest, where we got paid like
Possibly.
$1,400 to
Yeah, there's that one.
to fight both Houston teams.
Yeah, there's that one. And then there was Reno.
Yeah,
A couple years at Reno, and then there's another like a specific remember from Carnage where I faced off against a dude that did not have a range on an axe, and I just sit there and said, "If you swing, I'm going to hit you real damn hard," and he wouldn't swing.
yeah.
And then my one just put his one down, and then grabbed him, and then we just walked up the rail.
You definitely if you're a 2 and you're using a short axe, you're definitely targeting differently. Because if I'm using like an axe that short, I'm gonna be targeting the inside of somebody's elbow, especially that rail side.
But if I've got a 6-foot axe, I outrange you by so much you can't support without me blasting you.
Yeah, you
you're
can't
going to
stay in
get
the
one
pocket.
swing and you're dead.
yeah, you're
killing
you're
you.
definitely taking a shot.
Well, I think that's important. That's the overarching point, I think, is that like not every weapon is created equal. Not every weapon is good for every scenario.
Yeah,
And some weapons just aren't good. Maces, I'm looking at you.
honestly, yeah.
Maces, they're pathetic.
Two-handed,
honestly.
especially the two-handed maces.
Hey, did you see they upgraded mace weights?
Oh, dude, I saw Isaac Ellis use a new mace this weekend. Disgusting.
Really?
Dude, it was like this long. He said it was min weight, and I was like, this thing feels like a brick, dude. And it was a ball mace. It was like, I wouldn't want you to hit me with that.
Is it?
But it was also like a mace, so I'm
it's
like,
a new
whatever.
1.3 kilogram mace, though, right?
Yeah.
So basically, I think what they did. Again, I haven't looked at the new BI rules, so I'm probably wrong. It's the same weight now as an axe, as a one-handed axe, are very close
Probably,
to it.
yeah.
But you can no longer, but a mace can no longer be a two-handed mace. It has to be a one-handed mace. So it can't exceed the length of. But now, if you get out to like the longest one-handers with
Yo, yeah, I could put some.
But yeah, I mean, like weapons, combos, team tactics, all the stuff goes into like how you form your team and what are the tactics of your team. I played a lot of Magic the Gathering when I was a kid, or when I was younger.
you've got to build your deck,
Are
baby.
these fans on?
Yeah, they're on.
Okay.
When I was younger, at least, and a lot of that, when you play competitively, a lot of it is like it's looking at what the meta is. You can play on meta or you can play off meta, and then what are you going to do with that? And like a lot, 2-1-2 is the meta. Using long axes, I say long axes, anything shorter height or higher.
Yeah.
Those are generally the meta. You can choose to use something else,
be
but you
clear,
have to know what you're going to do with that thing to create a battlefield of
In a
advantage.
5v5, you shouldn't be swinging a true polearm. That's too long.
What do you consider like
So-
body weight, body length height?
For me, anything taller than head
yeah.
height.
Head height to.
You're probably
to
right.
Above, yeah.
So anything for your average blue fighter, anything longer than 6 feet,
yeah.
You're probably right.
right? 6 foot is about as long as you want to get.
And a 6-foot pole in fives is still pushing it, to be honest.
I think 6 foot is a sweet spot. I honestly think it's the longest you should swing, and it's also the sweet spot because it's still short enough that you can manipulate it. Right? It's not. We're not talking a gigantic polearm that you cannot move around the field with, or it just gets hung up on everything.
Yeah.
Right. And because of the new smaller head meta, they're really well
yeah.
balanced.
Okay.
So
Because like I remember my first two-handed axe, which was at Crescent, but it was a 50-inch haft, and also the Bardisha
that
I had.
crescent axe was terrible.
Yeah, but that Bardisha I had. Was
I know. I made it.
That
It was
Bardisha-
trash.
I got it. I think I got that thing in my car right now. It's a car axe.
That's actually for self-defense.
it's not
for bower.
Like,
It's not for bowers, dude.
walk around the fucking the campground.
So that axe was made back in the day when everybody thought they wanted to swing a max weight axe.
Yeah, and I actually did want
So
to.
now we know that you can't swing a max weight axe. You're not him.
I'm telling
Yeah,
you. Watch.
you can. It's just like, what is this for?
It is.
And I will say that there are some people who, if they use the max weight axe, I'm like, man, that's gonna really suck.
Your top swinger. So a max weight axe has this slot on the team. You should probably keep one on the back rail. And if you get late into a round, and you got a free axe guy, he goes and gets the max weight axe and goes to break people.
Yeah, because
That is really the only slot it has on the team.
Yeah, because he's only gonna swing that thing 4 times in a round max.
That's probably part of the issue too. Is like in the case of using like a max weight weapon, a lot of guys are like, they'll go out there, they'll use the weapon, and they're like, they're using a ton of energy to use this weapon when really they should be letting the weapon do all the work. You know, it should be long enough to where you can just use the lever mechanics of it and just dropping it on people over and over again in a really, I'd say, casual fashion almost. But if you're like trying to swing a polearm like a baseball bat, it's probably gonna go terribly for you.
Yeah.
I mean, or you could just go the other way and hit them as hard as you possibly can and break them
With a
in one
light
shot.
axe. With you can.
Or
you
no, a heavy axe.
You can try to roll crits.
just 12 to 6 right on the helmet and try to break them.
You can hit them so hard in their gorget from the
They
front,
think
they
I
take
hit
it in
the
the
neck.
back.
That was Jimmy Shock, wasn't it?
I just talked to him about that last
Yeah,
week.
yeah. He was posting. He commented on one of the other videos about how he's still terrified of Austin. I'm like, oh, it's because he hit you in the knot neck.
The knot neck.
The knot neck.
Yeah, that's dude. Speaking of my first experience and when you guys got me to actually try armor, so like I was training these guys for like a year before I got an armor, and they're like, "We got an event out in Sulphur Springs. You should really come." Like, fine, whatever. So we're sitting there watching. Like, all right, Adam, this is your first time in armor. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have you fight Austin. I was like, dude, I literally told you I'd never want to fight Austin ever. And Austin Ponticelli is literally one of the best humans I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, straight up.
He is, but he's like he's extreme on both sides. The nicest person, the scariest.
Yeah, straight up.
Like,
Straight up.
He will break you, and as you're laying on the ground screaming, be like, "Dude, are you all right? Are you okay?"
Yeah, he'll feel
You
real
okay?
bad.
Smoke you in the side of your helmet, axe gets stuck in your visor, you have a seizure, and then he does Deadpool hands. He's like, oh shit. He's dead, bro.
What have I done?
So they're like, all right, you're gonna do a triathlon with Austin. And at that time it was longsword, sword, and shield.
Polearm, I think.
Axe?
No.
Long axe?
It was
It was Texas triathlon. Because you called it Texas 3-gun.
Okay, so that is
It was long axe, long sword, and sword and shield. And we did great on long sword, sword and shield. I'm sure he wasn't trying to beat me up in the axe. I'm sure he was trying to also be super nice with the axe, but he knocked me down like 3 times. I'm like, God damn, bro, I look like a
him and
punk,
knocked him
bro.
out.
I look like a punk.
You literally concussed him,
yeah.
knocked him out, and put him out of the sport for like 8 weeks.
Yeah, I got some good TikToks of that.
Bro, Austin.
So what's happened was it's actually Julie's fault. So we did this Texas 3-gun thing. Austin wins, and then we're like, all right, we're gonna do some melees. So everyone gets in the list. We have women's intermixed with us at the time, and I hit the left flank, and I like push the person past. I get a clean shot at the back line, and I start just hauling ass as fast as I can. And Austin is positioned right against the rodeo barrier, swinging at someone. It's right next to him is Julie, and I was like,
"This is not cattle panels. It's a concrete wall.
It's a concrete.
At
It's a
the
rodeo.
foot of the
Yeah.
stands where we have like
Yeah.
a ton of people sitting in the stands.
So I'm running, and I'm like, I'm gonna catch Julie and blast her. Julie pushes in on her person and just moves out of the way, and the only person left there is Austin. I was like, fuck it. And I just I just blasted. I probably ran like, I don't know, 40 feet straight.
Yeah. He has some momentum.
And then as
built
I'm
up.
running, my brain slows down, and I was trying to, because I didn't play any field sports. I played soccer, but that's not a contact sport. I never played football or hockey or anything. And I just hear Brett Skinner's voice in the back of my head goes like, all right, when you check somebody, you need to hit and you need to lift. And I have this stupid, what is that? The heart-shaped shield.
Yeah, I was gonna
I
bring
had
it
a
up.
kite shield, a heater shield, and an arming sword. And I'm hauling ass at Austin. Julie moves out of the way, and then I see Austin with his axe turn and look at me, and I go, step up, and as soon as I make contact with my hands, just lift a little bit, blast him off his ass. He freaking smokes his head on the concrete barrier with his helmet on, but he hits the freaking barrier. Head looks up for a second, and then his head slumped to the side. He was out, dude.
Out.
Yeah.
He was out. And I was like,
And this was the weekend after you concussed him twice in the same.
yeah.
Oh
event.
yeah. He had a bad brain month. He had a real bad brain month. Yeah, that. Oh my goodness. And you know what's the trip? He still took me down. I gave him. He was leaned against the rail. Smoke him. I hit him, boom, boom, and I see him kind of fade, and I'm like, all right, this is the one. This is putting him down. Boom, and I hit him, and he wakes up, and I see it, and I'm like, uh-oh, and he just basically grabs me and crumples me into the ground, and I'm like, all right, I guess.
Hit you with that Oberon.
That was also the same round. That was the same round he put Sean through the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the same tournament, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a lesson. You gotta go fast.
You
gotta go
keep it
fast
up.
if you're gonna fight some big fellas.
Right. Yeah, we should really get Austin on here since we've talked about him. I think every single podcast so far.
We need to, man.
The mythos
Yeah.
of Austin just keep this. We should just rename the podcast to like the
The
Austin
mythos
Show.
of Austin.
Get your best George Carlin voice going on. And then he slammed his head against the concrete barrier. Hardcore history, but freaking
Hardcore.
Do you have that clip? Do you have that clip of you like
blasting
concussing
him.
Austin?
I got two angles of him on TikTok.
Okay. Send it to me so we can put it like right here.
I made some
my
crappy TikToks back in the day before it was
Bro,
good. And they're
oh
not
my
good
God.
video, but like it works.
I mean,
I just got back into my Facebook, and oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I'm looking forward to like going through and trying to find all those, because I think I had quite a few clips.
I'm looking forward to getting blamed for everything you post.
But
I'm not gonna be posting for a good while, man. I'm just watching the show now.
Every time you get Facebook back, suddenly my DMs blow up, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I ain't say shit, and it's you. It's always you.
It's always me.
what's that? So that was in 2019. That was my first bow hurt anything. And that was a pretty casual tournament, even though someone got their arm ulna, the radius in their ulna broke. Regardless,
Whoa, that dude just to get it broke. He got a second elbow.
he got a second elbow.
Jeremiah got a second elbow.
Yeah. But it was a pretty casual tournament. And then
Also, casualty of Austin.
after that, y'all were like, dude, you got to get into bow hurt. It's going to be awesome. And they're like, hey, we're going to do a tournament in Columbus, which is the Arnold Classic. And I was like, oh, Columbus is like my hometown. That'll be great. Sure, I'll start training for that. And then 2020 rolls around. You guys go to Carnage.
Oh yeah,
That was a breakout.
We
That was a
wrecked
breakout.
Carnage.
Yeah, that was
No,
a-
we
that
didn't.
was a
No, it was
breakout.
2020. You
Yeah, that
guys
was a
lost to
breakout,
the
yeah.
Executioners and got third place.
No,
Behind
that was
Orta.
2019.
No, it was 2020.
That's 2019.
No, because
It was-
COVID happened.
Yeah, it was the same year as COVID, but it was the 2019
Carnage
2020
happened.
season.
The next week, we were supposed to go to the Arnold, and
then
COVID
COVID
happened,
happened, yeah.
and
I
we
thought that
all
was
went to
2019.
lockout.
Because 2018 was. No, I think so. I think the cards we went to when we got fourth was
Nope.
Because remember, me and you were in the best shape of our lives for that tournament.
It was 2020.
Like,
I
Because
just
you guys
remember
had
riding the bench
Court,
for that whole damn
You
tournament.
had Court and Fred.
Yeah,
2020. I promise.
I don't think it was 2020. I think it was
Nope.
2019.
It's the first term of the Mythics we're at too. Not as the Dallas Mythics. I promise.
yeah, because before they were the Lady
But-
Warlords or whatever.
2020 rolls around. Lockdown happens.
Yeah.
And we have locked our gym full of Texans. You know what Texans hate?
Rules.
Being inside buildings.
Rules.
They go stir crazy. So we all like are all responsible citizens, and for like a couple weeks we're like, all right, everyone shelter in place.
Okay. No,
and then
no.
on the sly, everyone's like, what if we meet up at the gym?
We were never responsible citizens.
I didn't leave
That's
the
not
house.
true.
Okay,
Charlie,
Charles,
you
you
ma-
got terrified.
I didn't leave the house.
we
for-
didn't see Charles for a year and a half.
Yeah,
I know. And he still got the Rona. Like
still
3
got the
times.
Rona.
yeah. No, I don't leave the house. I get COVID more than the people who are training. I watched my team become the best team in the nation. It was
Also,
like,
Charlie donated a lot of COVID masks to people
No,
who needed
no.
them.
We didn't make masks. We made something that actually
Shields,
works.
face shields.
Face shields.
So you did something cool and responsible.
Yes.
The rest of us, we're all like, none of us are doing nothing. And we're like, all right, what if we went to the gym anyway? 6 days a week.
And our gym is next door to a police department.
It's a kill house, actually.
Yeah,
It's where the SWAT
SWAT
practices.
yeah.
So,
I
but
wanna go in there
also
so
our
bad,
gym was
dude.
zoned as a dance studio, not as a gym. So we weren't breaking the rules. But we did responsible stuff. We were like, hey, you guys can come to the gym. We can work out. We did armor 2 or 3 times a week while we're doing lifting and stuff. And we're like, but you can't go and do anything else. If you go hang out with your family, don't come to the gym for like 2 weeks. So all of us were like, it's either sitting at home or at the gym for like a year. And then that whole time, I think it was mostly me, DeAndre and Brett lifting. Got Brett to lift. It was great. We're just hitting like compound movements, doing intervals and stuff.
That's when the Rona stole my gains.
The Rona did steal your guys' games for,
Yeah,
for
we
were
real.
huge
Yeah,
before
we
the
were,
Rona.
man.
Charles?
It'll happen.
Charles was 270.
No, I was 260.
Thick.
260, dog. I was up there, dog.
I
Oh,
was a svelte 248 pounds.
yeah, man.
Damn near
But-
20-inch biceps.
Like I told
we
y'all.
ain't that no more. We ain't that no more.
Like I
no
told
more.
y'all a few episodes ago, me and Charlie have been training for the pro
I
fight
hate you
stuff.
so much.
We've been training for the pro
I
fight
have done
stuff.
more cardio since you mouthed off on that episode.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of walking and a lot of running around. Yeah, I've been a lot more
And
active
pushing
myself.
fat people on swings.
No, not fat people. All people.
all people who
I've
pass.
seen Rennie's.
Oh, the entire Ren Fair community is gonna be like, oh yeah, this Charles guy, he's dead. He's dead.
But he's so handsome, they'll pay you $5 to put you on a swing.
It's $7 now.
But yeah, so we were sheltered in place.
Plus tip.
So the warlords were sheltered in place, training for like 9 months leading all up to November. And up until this point, the warlords were a 4th place team.
yeah,
We think, we got 4th place and everything.
yeah.
Even in that carnage, we still made team selection, but we were the 4th place team.
Mm-hmm.
And then November came around. We've been training all kinds of stuff. Came in, went to the ACS National Championship, the first major tournament
Since COVID.
since COVID. Smashed
Wrecked
it.
it.
Smash.
I watched it
And
at
then-
home. I was watching it at home, screaming my head off like a
And then-
freaking fan.
2021 came around. Carnage.
Wrecked it.
Smashed. Both qualifiers.
Both qualifiers, right.
IMCF
Both
and
qualifiers.
not Boomer National. HMB.
And then there
at the
was
time.
never any international tournaments for like 3 years, so we just
But-
wrecked everything stateside for
In between
3
there,
years.
there's a lot of lifting. Lot of lifting.
A whole lot.
But you got to put in you got what Adam's talking. The TLDRs, you got to put in the work.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when we were in Germany last year, I wish you were with us. You weren't.
I swear to God, I'm cursed. I'm never going to get to Germany because apparently my guardian angel doesn't want me to die on the Autobahn.
We're going to Germany.
Because I've had
Charlie.
3 different tournaments or
So-
trips booked to Germany and had to cancel all 3 of
I
them.
wish you were there, only because you love this. We always see a couple of French guys, a couple French teams, a couple Italian teams. They're like, hey, They like got us. They got our team together. Like, hey, can we ask you guys some questions about training? Like, yeah, absolutely. They're like, what? Why do all you guys have like big biceps, and how do we get giant biceps?
That's funny. That's really
And
good.
me and Brendan looked at each other, and I was like, "You gotta lift, dog.
Yeah.
and you gotta
lift
eat
more
some
weight.
fucking meat."
Yeah.
Because I've seen Italian breakfast, and it's like a croissant and some grapes. I'm like, you need like hit me with like 6 to 8 ounces of chicken, or like 8 to 12 ounces of steak.
And eggs.
It's a milk.
Ounces?
Eggs.
Ounces?
Pounds. A pound of ribeye.
In my house, we cook 2.5 pounds of bacon for breakfast.
Yeah, like,
And that's
and a
only for
dozen
one
eggs.
child.
and that's just for
Have
Charlie.
have you seen my oldest?
Yeah, that boy's getting big, boy.
I mean, he's as big as you are.
I
He's
still remember
12.
when he was like, when he had the little kid voice, that dude got a deep voice and everything.
Yo, what's up, dudes?
What's up? Yo,
Yo, what's
I
up?
gotta, yeah, he was saying,
Luke is 12,
I gotta
and like
write a
the other day
story.
at judo, Charles wasn't there, and I was like, Luke had his child forearms up on the railing, and I was like, when the hell did you get grown man veins in your forearms,
know,
bro?
dude.
He's crazy. He's gonna be big, way bigger than I am. It's bull crap.
He's gonna be bigger than me, dude.
Yeah, he's gonna be a
Look,
good,
it's gonna be
he's
huge.
gonna be a specimen. He's gonna be quite a
He
specimen.
keeps growing
Yeah.
like he is, dude. He's gonna be
But-
huge.
Anyway, if you want to get big biceps, you need to lift weight and
So the rules of getting big is not hard.
eat big,
Eat big, sleep big, lift big. That's it.
get big.
Is that
what's been happening? I haven't been sleeping enough.
Probably.
And you
Not
don't eat
sleeping
enough.
good. Not sleeping good.
And you
Yeah.
don't eat enough.
Yeah, I haven't been eating very
I've
much.
never seen you finish a meal, Charles.
You've only seen me eat on trips, and on trips I can't do my
No,
pre-meals.
no. I've seen you order DoorDash 3 times in a day and take leftovers home from all 3 DoorDashes.
And I had a great night that night. I had a great night.
And
That night.
it's not like, I mean, depending on your scenario, what your like training environment looks like. If you don't have a local team, or like you guys only get together
means you
once
got
on
to
a Saturday, you're probably gonna have to go to the gym more often.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. You shouldn't be. Your team practice is team practice. It is not conditioning.
Very true. Very
It
true.
is not lifting.
That's something I'm bad about.
If you want to be competitive, you take care of that shit on your own time.
Yeah. That's really that's like
Well, like,
that's the thing in every sport ever is like the and this was something that I've just recently started understanding is, like he said, the stuff you do with your team is with your team, but the work, like the hard work where you improve, where you gain those XP points is the stuff you do by yourself outside of your team.
it's extra
et
credit.
cetera, et cetera, et
It's
cetera.
extra credit.
Yeah.
You got to do the extra credit.
Yeah.
But,
it's not even extra.
It's not extra credit. It
If
is,
you
it
want
is
to be
required.
like, I think it's pretty much understood that if you want to be on the competitive Warlords lineup, you in the gym at least 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just like if you're not,
Yeah.
you're not making the team.
Exactly.
I mean, right now for training for Worlds, coming off of a cut, I'm gonna lift 4 days a week. Then that's not. I'll describe that here later. But lifting in the gym 4 times a week, hitting our two grappling team practices, our team practice, which is on Saturday, and then with that hitting judo, ancillary to that twice a week. So that's 9 training sessions a week. And Sunday I'm like not doing crap. I'm just chilling at home. But I mean, you don't have to lift that much. You should probably lift minimum 2 times a week at least.
No.
No, depending on how much
3.
you train.
3
Depends on how
times.
much you train skills.
You
You could
need
get
to be
away with-
lifting 3 times a week.
you get away with 2 times a week if you do 2 full body workouts.
We're not backs. This is not running backs. This is linemen, dude. You want to be big.
Well, like you're if you can do skills practices, and I mean skills like judo, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, team grappling,
None of those make you big.
they are part of your volume. But you need we're talking about hitting the gym twice a week to supplement your training. You need to be lifting compound movements, heavy.
Definitely
If
compound
not
movements.
heavy, fast. And those, I mean, that's conjugate training. Heavy or fast. Preferably both.
Unless you're an experienced lifter, I would not lift fast.
You can lift. I say fast but light. Like I'm lifting fast. Like I do. If you're doing cleans, you're doing like 90 to 135 pounds, fast. Boom, boom, and just practicing
I mean,
being fast.
all I can do on a clean is 135 because I don't know how to freaking clean.
I mean,
No,
say
you
that-
could,
well, even
you
so-
could definitely do probably about body weight cleans.
Oh, the problem is, I just muscle it.
Yeah, that is a problem.
okay,
that
do
is a
something
problem.
like something relative. Like we're talking about like a maximum effort day where you're lifting heavy, and you're having a dynamic effort day where you're lifting fast. We'll take squats.
I think-
Monday you hit a max effort squat. You're hitting 1 to 3 reps, heavy. Then say that's on Monday. Friday, hold on, you're strong. You're super strong. And on Friday, you want to go fast.
This dude is all lower body.
You need to take some time off your brain, your CNS to give it a break. So you're hitting box squats, and those box squats, instead of doing like 315 for a normal squat, you're doing your box squat at something that's like 185 or less, and you're just practicing your power off the jump.
I don't know. I think we are honestly overestimating the average Buhurt fighter's potential in the gym.
No, I think
like their like agency to do stuff?
Their ability to lift in the gym.
I mean,
because we're still an amateur sport.
That's why they have. That's why they sport trainers. You just go pay someone to do that.
Yeah.
True. I mean, that's.
Or you can look it up. Just look up videos. It's a lot of research.
Well, I think it's not what I mean, like the amount of weight someone is able to do.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
We can talk about that. You want to talk about numbers?
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about some numbers.
Okay, so Charlie,
because if you told me that I need to go do heavy squats at 1 to 3 reps, I'm not squatting the rest of the week.
I think we'll start with squat. I think a good squat number to look at, we'll say, starting with women, probably 265.
Okay.
Max.
Okay.
Max.
So
I think
1% of women.
It is very. I got numbers on that too.
It's the top 1% of women.
Yeah, it is. Actually.
Maybe 0.5%.
It is.
Yeah.
But we're talking about if we're doing Bohurt, like you need to be. It's the strength stuff is to protect yourself.
I think that's less than 0.5% of the women's Bohurt fighters.
If someone's got armor on, we'll say, what is a 200-pound person?
This is a good question to ask.
Is almost 300. Hopefully less than 300 pounds.
I think your average Bohurt fighter is probably 300
pounds.
But
like if that person jumps on your back, and you need to absorb that weight, like you got to be strong.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about like you got to go ass to grass 265. Maybe do like a 3/4 squat or like not 3/4. Sorry, like half squat or something like that. But I think for guys, you should try to hit, 315, 365, somewhere around that for squat.
Yeah, our work weights.
we talking 1 rep max? Or
1 rep max.
No, when we were really busting it, I remember me and Charlie were doing 405 on the deadlifts, and I think we were squatting in the
405 because I don't want to sound conceited because we're doing this on the freaking internet. I don't put more than four plates on the bar.
Yeah,
I won't. It's unsafe. At my age, I
will.
I can really injure my back. So I already artificially limit what I do on leg days. So deadlift for me is usually 4 sets of 405, and I'm going to go between 8 and 12 reps per set. And squat's going to be about that same.
But you also do like legs once a week, and it's because you absolutely destroy it. Because like me and you do squats and deadlifts on the same.
But that is a reasonable thing to do. Like,
but every time I tell somebody that, they're always like, "Oh, on the same day," and I'm like, "Yeah, because I do leg day once and I'm done with it." But I want it to be a good leg day.
Yeah, I mean,
one of the reasons I did is because when you hammer leg day that hard, you produce a bunch of extra testosterone.
Yeah,
and this is a multiple peer-reviewed study. A heavy lift leg day is one of the best ways to naturally boost your testosterone levels.
That's 100% true.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why I do that.
But going off of what you said about you don't want to lift over 405, I think that's actually not a bad idea. One, you obviously want to be as strong as you possibly can, but there's a point where you hit diminishing returns. Also, we're talking about athleticism and the difference in what a fitness is and what athleticism is. Okay. Fitness is like your ability to navigate like your environment of like your life.
Okay.
And athleticism is specifically your ability to perform within a really specific parameter of your sport. So we're talking about like 405. I mean, like a 300-pound guy with 100 pounds of armor. That's 405.
I mean, I can definitely deadlift anybody in the sport.
Yeah, I mean,
except maybe Big Nick. Big Nick might be pushing it.
Big Nick is.
He's like 700 in armor. I don't think.
Stop, bro.
His kid is heavy. His kid is mad heavy.
Yeah,
but it's because it has to cover.
This is like 7 foot tall.
Nick Dahl is over 7 foot tall. I think he's 7'1". Yeah. I don't know how much he weighs, but I know in kit he used to weigh 500 pounds.
Yeah.
You sure it's just 500?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Without being mean.
No, because him and Zach weighed about the same in armor. I remember that because
Zach's another big boy in armor.
Yeah, Zach is
okay,
big.
maybe I couldn't deadlift Nick and Zach. Yeah. But I bet I could deadlift anybody else in the sport.
Yeah, so there's some parameters of what you need to actually look for, and part of that is like for the strength stuff is like your body's ability to absorb forces, and then for the power stuff is your body's ability to produce force and produce power.
Yep.
And you got to hit both. I mean, when like you're a runner, and I say this for every runner, if you're not lifting, you're kind of stupid.
Yeah.
But dude, if you're on a run and you're trying to check somebody, I mean, you need to be able to go and
Boom,
pop
you
them,
need to
dude.
explain, yeah.
If you can't, you're gonna probably run into them and fall down.
I was watching an interesting video on sprinting, the mechanics of sprinting. And the fastest sprinters are also the strongest to muscle mass ratio.
Yeah.
Because apparently, I'm not a scientist, but apparently, the way you sprint faster is by striking the ground harder.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
And
why a
so-
lot of the Olympic sprinters have crazy thighs.
Yeah.
Like Usain Bolt, even though he was a tall, skinny dude,
but they're
was all
crazy, but they
thighs.
don't have a lot of muscle mass. Right?
Exactly.
And they're stupidly strong for their size of muscle.
Yep.
And
But they're also like doing maximum effort.
I
for
think
10
your
seconds.
strongest cross-checking centers fall into this same category,
Okay.
but for Buhert. Okay, who's one of the best centers in the league?
Andrew McCabe.
Andrew McCabe.
And Andrew McCabe and I are virtually the same weight.
He's a little heavier than you, I think.
No.
Is he not?
We're
I thought
virtually
he-
the same weight.
I thought he was up to 195.
No.
No, he's
Okay.
No, but
You,
Andrew
you
does,
guys are virtually the same size.
Andrew does a lot of powerlifting, or
Yes.
at least he used to. I don't know if he does now, but he did do a lot of powerlifting for his Bohert training. He also uses a two-handed axe, which you have one single piece lever for pressing, and it's basically when you strike somebody, you're essentially doing like a jerk or a push press. So when he checks, you're popping with both hands, and it works really well for him. But
Yes.
I've also seen that dude hit some crazy moves.
He's
Talking
super
about
athletic.
power, we're talking about like power is essentially your ability to produce force over a distance. And I've seen him hit really crazy moves over a very short distance. That is impressive for any other center who's not the French Ninja.
yeah.
And I only say that because people are like, man, the French Ninja is really small. That dude is 200 pounds and
Yeah,
he's 5'7".
Yeah, he's a
He
running
is
back.
Jacked.
He's an NFL running back.
That is David Arditi.
Yeah,
Correct. But the French Ninja played rugby.
yeah. That is
David Arditi is
quintessential-
one of our fighters in the Warlords, and he is as wide as he is tall and
Yeah.
all muscle.
Yeah, that dude is dude's jacked.
He is probably pound for pound the strongest dude in our team.
Pound for pound?
Yeah.
Talking about compared to like
Compared like strength to the weight ratio. I think he's probably the strongest.
Probably.
yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, centers and anyone you need to be able to produce power. You need to have strength to resist injuries. That's another thing.
Well, like you're talking about muscles padding.
Muscle is padding. Yeah.
Okay. How many of you guys out there wearing leg chausses?
Yeah.
Leg prisons.
Fuck that.
Me.
Thick thighs save lives.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't wear leg padding at all.
But
yeah. Bump that. That's where I get hit. Is that people are like, oh, he's tall, hit his legs.
yeah. But people need to hit deadlift. They need to hit squat. They need to bench press. You probably need to do different types of cleans. But I think you also need to be able to do a whole bunch of other stuff in Bohert, like kettlebell swings.
Yeah.
Getting your own freaking body weight up. You need to be able to weighted pull-ups. You know what weighted pull-ups are? Snap downs. All pulling somebody into the list. Like, you know, as a one, when you're like, I'm grabbing the outside shield arm and raking it, like, you need to be able to do some rows, dude.
That's cable rows and
Box squats, or not box squats, sorry. Box jumps, broad jumps. You need to have athleticism.
yes, being generally athletic is a very good thing to in Buhert. So if you ask me to describe the perfect Buhert fighter,
Yeah.
okay, it is Craig Ivey.
6'1", 240.
That's six. That
Yeah.
you're now real boy sized,
Yeah.
okay, but you're also that middle linebacker size.
Yeah. Exactly.
You're the size of a proper sized middle linebacker.
Yeah.
And
Ray
Craig Ivey is
Lewis.
also in his prime. I'm pretty sure he's retired at this point. He's not fighting anymore, or at least hasn't recently. I don't think.
Yeah.
Dude was built like a brick shithouse,
Yeah.
Yeah. I would probably, I agree with you
and
for sure.
super athletic,
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah.
and he can play any position on the field.
I would prefer height over weight, just because we're playing a sport where it's like getting over someone's head is great, but
Yeah, but I think once you get to that 6'1", 6'2", right, you're taller than 90% of the other Booher fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah, you fight right in the middle ground. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and asking someone to be 6'5", Charles.
Charles is only 6'3".
6'4", but
He's 6'4"
whatever
in
it
heels.
is, massive.
In heels.
yeah, I'm 6'4" in heels. No, I'm 6'5" in heels.
Yeah, but you're
So-
6'4" and you're
Yeah.
how much?
250 less. Like, I'm probably
Okay.
close
Now
to
Charles is in the
230.
What's that in
99th percentile
Yeah.
of all
I don't
human
know if
beings
that's
on
in
the face of the
centi-
earth.
I don't know if it's in centimeters, but you're like
I'm 190.
Why do you
I'm
have kilograms
191
and centimeters written down?
I
I'm
don't know.
191
You-
centimeters tall.
191 centimeters, and you're like 117 kilograms. That's a big dude.
Yeah.
Again, commie units.
I'm helping
Commie
your
units.
audience, dude.
Hey,
I'm helping you.
shout out to our European listeners, by the way. I know
Learn pounds
You're welcome.
and inches.
LBs.
Freedom units.
Freedom units. But yeah, you gotta be. I think there's also a practical application for weight in our sport, like people literally not being able to pick you up off the ground, which happens.
Okay, so this topic is near and dear to my heart.
Getting picked up off the ground.
The worst injury I ever had in this sport.
I knew where this was going.
I dropped all the way down to 215 pounds.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then Bam Bam picked me up and threw me across the list, and I broke my collarbone.
Yeah.
Okay. I was not 215 when I got
The
home.
next time.
That 215 started the original beginning
Yeah,
that Charles
for sure,
and I hit.
for sure.
Because I was not going to die like that again.
Yeah, he was. It was a trip because I remember him saying we were driving and it was quiet. We've been driving for hours. And Charlie just goes, "Bam Bam is freak nasty strong." and I'm driving and I'm like, "What?" And he's just like, he just picked me up. I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna have to
Dude, I
pull
was
over.
in so much fucking pain.
I'm gonna have to pull over and hold my boy for a minute, dog. What's going on,
You're like one step away from being a Family Guy bit.
bro?" Oh my god.
Dude, if we could do like cutaways in the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh.
But no, you're right. Like size is a huge thing in our sport, right?
Yeah.
And at a certain point, nobody can pick you up. And that's about 225 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can be really competitive at like 175 pounds. You can be really competitive at 180. There are plenty of people, but like,
I mean, Sean's what, 170?
Sean
And he's super
goes
competitive.
anywhere between Sean and I are basically the same weight, where he goes anywhere between 175 and like 195, depending on how many Oreos he's had, because that boy loves snacks.
Yeah, he do be snacking.
Sean loves snacks.
Yeah.
He's our Shaggy. The Charles is Scooby.
That is Shaggy and Scooby. That is straight up Shaggy and
He's
Scooby.
not wrong.
But I mean, the weight just helps. I mean, yeah.
So,
Oh, then we're in it.
do you see how much he still got left to go
I
on
got
this
no-
paper?
Hey, I'm here. Let's do it.
Adam's like, no, I got
We're-
this, and we're covering
They
everything
forgot,
on this
They forgot,
paper.
but I was supposed to come on the episode. It's like, oh, let's talk about fitness and training and stuff. I'm like, okay. So I wrote a bunch of notes down.
And in the first half of this, we didn't talk about
Professional.
any of that.
Nothing.
That's fine.
No need.
All right,
It's
so-
adjacent.
All right. What else we got, Adam?
So we can talk about what you're talking about before Charles got here. We're talking about different types of training you can do. A lot of people suck at training for the most part. They've never played any sports. They've never done anything outside of armor combat, and they get in armor combat like, this is the first sport I've played. But
The average team in this sport, their training's ass.
yeah,
True.
And it just like, I'm sorry. It is. And it's not a big deal. Our training was shit.
Yeah.
Our training improves all the time. Like our training a year ago was crap compared to what it is today. Right? So you got to start somewhere. I mean, one of the first things, like big turning points for our team, is we brought in Alexei and from the Ukraine, and Alexei from the Ukraine. I forget. I'm sorry, Alexei. He's up in Boston. I'm sorry, I can't remember your last name. But we brought him in to train with us, and his first thing is like, "You are all very bad." That was the very first thing he said. I was
Lord
like,
have
"Oh,
mercy.
wow." And this is just after we come back from actually, placing fourth again.
Yeah,
from,
we were
like,
doing. Yeah, we were doing good.
Like,
we're feeling
we were
good
able
about
to hang with
ourselves.
like everybody at this point, and then he's like, no, you are all very bad. And that
He wasn't lying either.
but he's totally right. And
Well,
it
so-
takes somebody showing you that yes, your training is bad and you're not progressing because of that before you can learn how to train.
Exactly.
So, on that note, Kansas City, what's the date?
Oh, May 5th.
May 5th, Kansas City. If you are in the area or can catch a plane ticket last minute, check out Adam,
Me, Michael
Brett?
Johnson, and Brett Skinner.
Brett Skinner, Michael Johnson, 3 of the top fighters in the U.S., if not the world.
Yeah, they're running a training camp. The Banished Knights out there are going to run a training camp. They had us come on and run a camp for them, so it'll be pretty fun.
So
We got some new games we're going to play for them. But yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Freaking, most people, when they start doing armor combat, they're like, I don't know what to do. So a lot of times they're just doing sparring or hitting each other with frying pans and shovels. And like dumb
Chairs.
shit. It's like, look, man, if you guys want to take this, you guys want to pretend like this is a sport and do it as a sport and pursue it as such, we got to train like it's a sport. And a lot of people are like, I don't know how to do that. And I'm like, dude, get on YouTube, look up some freaking drills and games they do in other sports, football, soccer,
Straight up.
hockey, lacrosse.
Yep.
Look at other training modalities and stuff like that and see what people are doing. And a lot of it, you don't have to be an expert. You can just start at making games up. And when you make a game that you're training, you have to know what the intentions are and what the tasks are. So Charlie has a good story about he had an objective and he had a task for the trainees and what they're going to do. Charlie, what was the game?
So it's one that I do. I can do with new fighters called Red Light, Green Light. And I do it especially with like new fighters. It's much more effective training, I think, than going around and trying to remember what people did. Right? Now, you guys all played Red Light, Green Light in school, right? And we're kind of building off of that. We start with it's for a 2v2. So you got a rail, and a wing, and a wing. Okay, the wings are completely defensive. I don't want the wings doing anything offensive. They're there protecting their one and doing the initial job of a wing. Protect that one, get that one in the engagement. Okay, and this is really a hand fighting drill if you boil it down to it. Okay, because the real game is a chess match about where your hands go to start out with. Okay, so yes, the first thing you got to do on the rail is figure out what to do with your hands. Right? And what I'll do is I'll have them start. Hey, the idea is to grab head control, right? And the twos are supposed to defend head control on the ones, and the ones are trying to grab head control on the opposing one. And then I just call red light whenever I want them to stop. And then we talk about why this person's doing, what that person's doing, how that person ended upside down, and what that two is doing off on the other side of the field. Right? Because when you first start, people get into a mode of panic, right? When they first start training, right? And even a soft kit, they'll get this panic mode. What it does by red light, green light, you're stopping and you're interrupting that, and you're making them think about what they're doing. And by asking the questions, hey, how did your head get down there? And like, oh, I was going for a leg pick. And then you can explain that Pythagoras is a bitch, and when you've been over like that, they now have a short shot to your head, and you're still reaching for the leg because you're going on the long side of the triangle.
Yeah.
Right? Things like this. So you can just kind of, and it helps people absorb this stuff really quickly, whereas it would take weeks of training otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, it could take years. But the whole point is you create a game based on what you want to learn or you hope to learn, and you create a task that helps you find that. And really the ultimate goal becomes you discover something new or whatever. There's some other stuff I think that goes really good with that for training environments. And it is a lot of teams don't know how to separate actually how to train. Like they're going 100% trying to win. And let's call that exploiting. You're trying to exploit and try to win, which is a whole thing. It's a whole nother style of training. And you have explore, which is like turning down your intensity, trying to learn stuff.
Trying things.
Yeah. And I think that was the one thing that was really successful for, and continues to be successful for our team, is that when we have team practice and we're trying to learn something, usually we try something out and then we all get together after we've done the drill and we're like, all right, what do we like? What do we not like about this? Or we, have an issue that we're like, we don't like this thing. How can we come up with an objective or a game to get better at it?
Yeah, a lot of that is you have to discuss what you've done, right? Where your head was at when you were trying to do this thing, what you saw. Like we may be grappling. I think I may be doing a fantastic thing, and Adam's like, no, if I hit this, you're on your ass, right? So that's that kind of after action report. We do it I guess, 3 times of practice we'll stop in 2 to 3 times of practice.
Oh yeah.
And
I mean, we've been
so-
known to get on hour-long conversations about.
But usually we
thing.
have like 2 or 3 stop in like, hey, breakdown sessions when we're doing these what we call drills. They're not really drills.
Yeah, typically after our sparring
It's like
sessions.
they're
or-
like situational, like
Yes.
half speed sparring.
Yeah, it's situational sparring.
So, and again, if you've ever been to one of the classes that we put on, we do not strike at practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
Okay,
much.
that's
Like we'll do the full pantomime the movement. Like
Yep.
when we're doing it, I'm practicing as if I'm striking really hard. I'll pantomime the whole movement. I'll target exactly where I want to hit, and then I don't really hit. I tap them. Usually hard enough to where they're like, there's something there, but you don't have to hit them very hard at all.
and then if you get hit, you act as if you've been gapped.
Right.
You've been struck very hard. Right. And that keeps the intensity level of the practice down and allows everybody to practice the thing that they need to
Exactly.
practice.
Yeah.
So it's also how you avoid getting hurt in practice too,
Yep.
by keeping that intensity level down.
Yep.
And some people have an issue with like, well, my partner doesn't know what it's actually like to get hit, so they don't react well. It's like, well, it doesn't really matter anyway. I mean, this is just for this is just fluffing the situation basically. But
Your homie's going to learn. First time, your new fighters are going to when they go out first time in armor in a real tournament, they're going to get hit once and fall over
Yeah.
right.
because they're going to panic, and it's going to happen a couple 3 times, and we're like, man, I look stupid, and they're never going to do it again.
Yeah. Or like,
Right.
I mean, it's also practical too, because like they could be, in theory, you're simulating this environment, but like it happens all the time in melees where like a dude's got a lot of padding on, they have a lot of thick armor, and you can hit him as much as you want, you
they
don't
don't
get
care.
tired.
Or like I wear full plate. Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't care if you swing at me. Please don't try to murder me.
But it's also
No, whatever. You don't care.
I just saw the comments going,
Nah, he doesn't care, guys. Light him up.
Yeah.
He has full plate.
but that's also why you should practice your precision and your actual technical skill using the weapon in soft get training.
Exactly.
Yes.
Man, I want to talk about something I hate and something I love. It's a really common phrase right now going around where like you always hear people say don't try to win practice or yada yada yada. Yes, there are times where you should not need to win practice, but trying to win is really good. It is super beneficial.
I look at it the other way. I try to lose practice.
I agree.
I try to lose. I want to be dumped on my ass every practice because
Yeah.
I know that I can go through an entire practice and Adam is never going to throw me.
Yeah.
I know I can do that.
Sure, yeah. If you
Right.
want to do that, yeah.
Right. Neither one of us learned anything.
Exactly.
Right.
Right. Just like Adam, I can't throw Adam if Adam really dedicates to not losing
If
practice.
I want to run away. Yeah.
Right? I mean, but that doesn't teach anything. What you should be doing at practice is all the shit that you're trying to learn that you're
Exactly.
bad at.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
And this is
if you can't throw in a Soto, you should be hammering out a Soto every time and getting dumped on your ass
Yeah.
till you figure out how to do it.
Yep.
You should lose every practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that phrase, you shouldn't want to win practice. Really, what it's trying to say is what we were saying before is there are times when you're trying to learn how to exploit, and times when you're trying to learn how to explore. And when you're in exploration mode, this is months out from a tournament, you should not be trying to win. When you are in exploit mode, you should be trying to win, and that is the camp leading up to the tournament. It's 8 to 6 weeks before that tournament. All right, now we're hitting the gears. We're turning up intensity a little bit, still being safe, but now I'm actually practicing my mindset of trying to win. I'm developing tactics and macro skills to help me learn how to win. And they're just 2 different gears, 2 different sets, and people need to intentionally define.
And also,
when
one
they
of
are.
the things that I think that we do backwards from what we should be doing for training, and I know I'm never going to win this argument with our coaches, but I think we do it backwards. We start training in armor more and more leading to a tournament.
And,
And that is the opposite of what every other sports team does.
Yeah, it's true.
It's the exact opposite. We ramp up armor time, and we should be ramping down.
Yeah, it's true. Because like if you look at football, by the time you get halfway through your season, you're putting on pads for practice once a week.
Or you're going half pads. Or
Yeah,
you're going, right? Yeah. So you actually ramp it down before the big games. You're not ramping up.
It definitely
We
increases-
ramp up, and I think that's a lot to do is again a lot of our sport comes from a singles background and not a team background.
Yeah, that can be true.
And they're different training methods. And I realize that I'm never going to win this argument, but
I
it
do
is-
think you have a good point because there's certain points in the camp where like we're probably a couple weeks out from the tournament. I might be kind of done putting on armor. I'm like, we put on armor a lot,
Yeah.
but also you start to accumulate little nagging injuries. If you don't temper yourself correctly,
Busting your kit.
busting your kid up, stuff like that. But you're probably right.
Yep.
I would prefer armor every single week rather than twice a week leading up to a tournament.
I think we should be doing. I mean, ideally, yes. In my opinion, you should be armoring up at your main weekly practice, right?
Yeah.
If you are practicing multiple times a week, as you should be with your team, you should probably ideally 3 would be really good.
Yeah.
2 soft kits and an armor practice
Yeah.
weekly. And once your team gets to a very experienced level, I think you can back that down to just being an armor twice a month.
Okay.
Reason being, armor takes a long time to put on and off. It's also hard on your kit, and you
Yeah.
get less reps.
I'd argue
So
that-
your time in armor should be more about polishing what you learn in soft kit.
Yeah, I'd say that you want to God dang it, I lost it.
Gone. I saw it fly out.
Yeah, I lost it.
I feel like you should be learning your skills, your individual skills. We're talking about takedowns, striking, all that in armor, because you need to use that.
Yes.
You need to use that skill in armor, and that is the game we play.
But
I think we should learn. But learning macro skills, teamwork, specific stuff we're going to do in going into a tournament, more soft kit.
Yep. Well, also you need to polish that skill in soft kit before you take it to armor,
True.
Yeah.
right? Because it's harder to try to learn something in armor than it is to learn the mechanics of something in soft kit and then apply the armor on top of it.
Yeah.
So.
I guess I should say I feel like the soft kit is supplemental to wearing armor, and armor should be the main thing. But it depends on how much work your team can get done.
Well,
if people are like gassing out super hard putting on armor, you're like, no, we're not doing that. It's a waste of time.
We did something that I thought was going to bomb miserably at the Houston practice a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whenever it was. We had a couple teams coming in from Oklahoma, and the Houston guys really wanted to do armor first thing in the morning. And I'm like, this is going to end miserably because nobody's going to get any training time, and when they take off the armor, they're going to be done. Everybody's going to go home because it's going to be hot and they're tired and they're not going to be. No, it actually worked really well. After armor practice, everybody de-kitted, grabbed their soft kit, and we did another 3 hours of soft kit practice.
Oh hell yeah.
So they got their the scrimmage out of the way, and then we just broke down what they were doing in the scrimmage, and then started doing soft kit training and going over all the stuff that what we saw would be most beneficial from what was going on in armor during the scrimmage. And I was really surprised at how well that worked. I expected it to be not good. I expect everybody to because when we de-kit, we're gone.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
In the wind. We
Like-
we on our way to get food.
we are literally going to
Yeah,
Brazilian
that's
Steakhouse to eat.
Yeah, we're going to get
true.
food straight
Yeah.
up.
Barbecue
Yeah.
joint, we're done.
That is literally our only spots we hit up after team practice. And we're going to Papa's Barbecue.
Yep.
We go to sometimes Papacitos, but it's mostly Papa's Barbecue or Brazilian Steakhouse.
Yeah.
Probably why.
Well, Papa's Barbecue's the only
We're so
barbecue
big.
joint that's open on Saturday afternoons.
Yeah. And it's
What's it? Redigio's is the place. It's a Brazilian
Hard Eight.
steakhouse.
We go to Hard Eight quite a bit too. Redigio, yeah. Redigio's awesome.
Hard eight's hit or miss, man. Sometimes it's real good, sometimes it's real bad.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Uh,
so what's your next note, man? What else we got on here?
so we're talking about games. You're talking about red light, green light. I love that drill. I also love the drill we got from Jake Taylor he's the team captain of Kraken out of Australia. He's also the team captain of their national team this year. And it's just called, it's kind of like red light, green light, but you have everyone around you doing 1v1 grappling. The person has 2 flags, say a green flag and a red flag. Periodically, you'll see people grappling, and you're just going to randomly say scan, and you're going to hold one flag up, and everyone in the room has to say what the color of the flag was before they can return the grappling. So this what it does is practice, and it should happen
Field
every
awareness, gotcha.
every second and a half, 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Where everyone has to continuously practice scanning the field and do whatever. And he said it was a great drill for them. We've ran it before, had a lot of great success with it. I love that drill. We also done a lot of football games before, like Bull in the Ring. You did Bull. We've done Bull in the Ring. Yeah, Bull in the Ring is really fun. You have one person standing in the center, and everyone else around them is moving in a circle. And then the organizer of the drill gives everyone a random number. So say Charles is 3, Charlie's 1, and the person in the middle the organizer will call out a random number. That person tries to make contact with the person in the middle. The person in the middle tries to respond with moving out of the way. They can try to do an attack, like a reverse, like turning throw, sasai, whatever. It's just learning to accept attacks from different directions and keeping your head on a swivel.
This would be a good center drill.
It is a good center drill. I love it a lot. Me and Mackenzie, for a while when we first started, I was having to run line drills where we would move, like the list is set up like a rectangle. We'd start in one corner, zig midfield to the right, and then zig left. And it's not a pursuit angles drill, but it is a guard drill like in basketball, where we say go. She's trying to chase me and stop me from getting to...
Trying to cut you off.
Yeah, trying to cut me off. We'll also set up with cones, and my objective is to touch my foot on the cone, and her objective is not to let me touch the cone, which is really fun. We also used to do it back in the day. We would do Ys, Ws, and Zs. And Y is really fun because it's a center drill where Charlie starts at the bottom of the Y, and I am at the fork, right? Charlie's going to run up. He's going to try to pump fake me, create some movement, and then choose left or right and go up one of the arms. And my objective is to read his movement and catch him. And that was a super fun drill.
That's really cool. That's just a coverage drill between a corner and a receiver.
Yeah.
I like those drills for movement. I don't know how well they translate to what we do in armor, because so much of center happens and it's strictly because going down in our sport is the ultimate penalty.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. And stick and move is something you shouldn't do in armor.
Yeah.
Because it's how you fall. It's how you eat shit and look dumb in the middle of the list. So I like that drill, and I do a very similar thing coming on the rail. If somebody's off the rail, I will step hard in one direction to get them to move out and then just knock them over. Brett hates it. Absolutely despises it. He's like, I hate that it works. I hit it in Prague, and we had a 17-second round because of it. And he ran the film back. He's like, there's no technique in this, and I absolutely hate it, but it worked, so whatever.
It's because it's a macro technique. So you're messing with someone's macro knowledge. If they don't have any, they're dead. Yeah. They're super dead, dude.
Yeah. So I do use that Y drill, but from a center perspective, I don't know that I would ever do that in the open field.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
No, I like practicing it not like I'm going to walk straight up to an enemy center. I like doing it in certain cases where, like, say I'm a center, I'm on the rail for whatever reason, and there's a guy in front of me stopping me from getting to the open field. And you practice doing different things to get some separation on him so you can move and get past him. And then to go do whatever you're going to do across the field.
Yeah. I also like we tend to, as a sport, our centers tend to run more zone than man.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
So, man is when you actually when you're actually on that dude, right?
Yeah.
Put hands on him.
Well, man is like, I want to stay this far away.
Right. All times, yeah.
At all times, right?
Yeah, and zone is like, I want to stay that far away if you're in my zone.
Yeah. Or I may be like, I may shadow you, right? But I don't have to be near you to actually do my job.
Yeah.
Like, if I don't want you to hit my homie, I just got to look at you if you're a center, and you're not going to do it.
Yeah, it's good. Right. I've always used that term as like it's called implied pressure, where I'm close enough to threaten you, but way far away from you can't touch me. And you're right. A lot of
I like to call it the look block.
The look block. That's true.
The look block.
A lot of centers do start out doing that.
Yep.
And I feel like that's their lack of knowledge from either playing sports or just they don't want to grapple people. I did it for a long time, and really,
most centers shouldn't be involved in the grapple directly.
No.
Yeah, very
But you got to be able to put hands on people.
You do.
And you got to be able to dig yourself out of that hole if you somehow get subdued. And
So
that's a fun game.
That's why Sasai is such a great thing for a center to know, especially Sean's axe Sasai.
Yeah.
Yeah, his is great. He has a really cool acumen for using his axe.
I think he's the best one at it.
Yeah, the exercise.
Honestly, I can't think of anybody that did that.
His exercise is real nice.
Yeah, it's very polished.
Considering most people who do it are like really big ass halberders.
Yeah.
For a small guy, it's really good.
Well, also because he's a small guy, every fighter in the list just wants to run a double overhook.
Yeah, it's creating tactics based on what your weapon choice is, what your role is, and how it makes your opponent respond to stuff.
We should really do a podcast where we deep dive into the position archetype dynamic. Because our sport, we don't like. So we talk about positions like rail, wing, center. All three of us can play any of these positions.
Yeah, but we're
going to play them vastly differently,
right.
And that's the archetype, right?
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Where I was like, I said I don't hear those paradigms.
Yeah.
Because I think it was Craig was the first person who trained with us, where he's like, then the reason why we use the language 1, 2, 3, and not center, wing, block, whatever stupid term, whatever colloquialism, it limits what your potential actually is on the field. It's like, I like playing 3. That's just my starting position, but otherwise I'm a completely normal fighter.
Yeah, all positions go out the window 30 seconds into the fight.
Yeah.
True.
Right. But I think it's important to have a definition of what those positions do in that first 30 seconds, because that first takedown is so critical.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, very true.
So for me, like I don't want a rail guy thinking he's a center this round.
Yeah.
Because if he goes off and plays center, I've left the rail open, and now my 2 over there is dead because the end run.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. I think having a somewhat defined role in the position is important, but not like you can't just say all rails fight this way, right? Because if Adam's on rail, he's fighting way different than I am.
Yeah, I classify myself as a runner, and I'm gonna use my movement and my ability to create movement for my opponent to create disruptions and unbalance the field. I like playing 1 because honestly, I like starting against the rail. I know nothing is on my left, and everything goes on my right, like if I'm left rail, and everything goes on my right. And I know when I got to make contact, the first I'm probably going to run into is probably big. Their buddy is right next to them, and if that guy wants to cover my movement, he's going to run right into his buddy. And I'm pretty good at getting close enough to where I'm like, immediately take 2 steps, I'm off both those guys, and I'm trying to ear hold the center, or I'm trying to ear hold the opposite too. And I like playing 1 because it also lets me... Charlie, you don't play League of Legends, do you?
No.
Charles, you play League of Legends?
Oh man, much
You play other games, though.
I played a little bit of League.
You played
recently.
Smite or anything like that?
Yeah.
It's being able to play it. It's called a dive position or a dive tank. But it's like the whole point. My whole objective is to create an initiation onto the field.
Yeah, it's to get into the
from
line.
wherever.
Yeah.
And 3, it's a little limited because when you're a 3, everyone's looking at you. All of them can basically see you. Really, it's going to be the enemy 3, the enemy 2s. The enemy ones don't care, but they can still see if they want to. But when you start on the rail, and especially if I'm with someone who's much bigger than me, like if me and Charles are on the rail, he's my 2, we can create a scenario where like I have Charles step in and I'm completely shadowed behind him, and I just come off of his ass and just ear hold the enemy 3. And Colin Martin, I was one of the first people to do that with Craig when he ear hold Colin Campbell.
And that's that movement we were talking about being created, right?
Yeah.
Now we're moving back to that. We played with in Omaha where we Texas almost every round.
Yeah.
And
If you're not initiating with something at this point,
yeah,
I'm like, you're wasting your time.
Yeah, so that's...
It took us a while to get over, though, because we were like very set in our ways of like, no,
Hey.
1 and 2s move like this. That's our bread and butter.
We nothing. Y'all, yes. Charlie has hated
not
that.
true.
I have hated that.
That's not true.
I have hated that ever
Don't let him
since...
lie.
No.
Watch him get with Austin. He doesn't move at all.
It's true. Do I need to?
It's
Maybe.
very true.
Maybe.
Do I need to? If I Texas with Austin, that's stupid.
Maybe.
I am literally pulling the fucking artillery out and just letting the artillery pound.
Yeah, we came up with a whole movement for that. It's the best.
Yeah, but like when we started this, that's one of the things I said that was the bad thing about the 2-1-2 meta, the original, the old 2-1-2, right?
Yeah.
Is that you were dedicating to being the better team, and if you were not clearly the better team, it was not a good strategy. I ain't smart enough to have a solution for it. Okay, because nothing beats a 2-1-2 even today.
Yeah.
I mean, Kenya's with their 2-2-1.
Yeah, I was about to say the double center.
But again, you could argue that 2-2-1 is also just playing a loose 2.
Yeah.
Right. It's really 2 centers when you look at the style that it's played. But it's
the same formation, but they're applying that formation does.
One of their
differently.
2s is U-sized, and is dedicated to leaving the 1.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, also their 1 is
So,
literally a
massive.
giant human being.
It's massive. He's like 2 of me. So
Like the difference between a 4-2-5 and like a
I think Chad is 350
or
pounds.
4-3 defense.
And he's 6'7".
Yeah.
And he
So
does not care about getting hit. And that dude, he can move in a line quick.
He's literally ripped the helmet off my head every time I fought him. So,
Yeah.
4-2-5 and a nickel defense. Like
There you go,
they're both the same formation, but in a 4-2-5, you're gonna have basically specialty positions that are one guy who's like a mixture between a defensive end and a linebacker. You're gonna have a backer who's also kind of a DB, and then you're gonna have a DB who's also a safety.
Yep.
Whereas in a nickel defense, you're gonna have that same setup, but you have all specialized positions. So you're gonna have the same formation, different people in the formation.
Yep.
As someone who barely played football, I understood about a quarter of that.
They'll get it or they won't.
Google it. Google it. Use transcripts.
So one thing I said about Adam before the podcast, so I want to do an episode where we actually break out the whiteboard.
Oh,
where
yeah,
we do
it'd be
X's
fun.
and O's.
Oh man, that sounds
Actually
dope.
show people what a Texas looks like.
Yeah.
Right. What a twister looks like. What a shake and bake.
Oh, well, the Twister we've gotten very limited time to do. We also got the Happy Gilmore. That's a fun one. But
The Happy Gilmore. Is
the
that
one we made
three
for
crash?
Austin.
Happy. Oh yeah.
It's our old
Yeah.
school, but it's
Yeah.
new school now.
Yeah. And then there's the Leroy Jenkins with a 3.
Oh yeah. Hell for loving.
So,
Crash out, stuff like that.
So there's lots of plays we're doing out of the 2-1-2, and I've always said that whoever figured out how to do this was going to break the back of the 2-1-2, and it has, right?
Yeah.
It just happened to be that, again, the Warlords was the ones that started doing that / Dominus.
Yeah.
Considering there's the guy, almost all of our instructors are on Dominus, so
Daniel Krug really pushed for it to happen in the United States at least, and then
Yeah.
we're like, all right, we'll do it.
I mean, I've been railing about it since we came up with the 2-1-2.
That's true.
I have
Charlie's a
hated
trendsetter.
I have hated the 2-1-2 because it is if you're not clear to their team, you're admitting defeat.
Yeah.
It does not give you a tactical advantage. So I've always hated it. I've never had a solution for it.
Yeah.
And I still don't think there's a solution for it. Now we're just taking the 2-1-2 to the next level, which can give you an advantage now.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the
Right.
solution to the 2-1-2 is a lot more movement. Like if you're not,
But
if,
the 2-1-2 was directly developed to stop movement on the field.
yeah, but
And unless you're a team like Kenya's, who has the beef that can't be taken down quickly, you can't leave to dedicate that move.
Right.
That big
They're
circular movement.
insulated due to
well,
size.
I mean, depending on how your team is, your big guys got to be able to move too. Like, sorry, because like I said, if you don't, like you said, 2-1-2 is immediate defeat if you're not the better team.
Yep.
Big dudes got to move. Maybe it's like, all right, we know that this left rail, these two guys don't move fast, but we know our two big guys are faster, so they're going to engage a little bit and then just stay away, and then engage a little bit and stay away, because we know on the other side, maybe we have like a strength difference. You know, there's
100%.
Yeah, strong and weak side. Yeah, we've played with that. And usually it's just takedown speed.
yeah.
Right.
But actually, I think that's a good point to talk about. Is like we're talking about all these different things that you can, all these different strategies you can implement, the tactics with those strategies you can implement with your team. But in order to do that,
Basic boo hurt.
people need to know how to move.
Yeah.
They need to have, honestly, you have fitness, like
Yeah.
strength, conditioning, all that crap. Because if you can't move, well, now it's like if, say in our 5-man lineup, 4 of us can, say 2 of us can move and 3 people can't. Well, now we're going to be kind of limited on what we can do on the field. But the more people have more versatile skills, the more you can potentially do. And that really, really increases your scaling for stuff.
I think on our team, we've only really got one fighter that doesn't move.
Yeah.
No, not looking at me.
I know you
It's our
were-
other rail.
I know. I knew you were going to say.
It's Brennan.
Actually, yeah.
Brennan
yeah,
has a
'cause
death
I'm about to say,
He's
even
getting- Brennan is not
getting there.
fast.
He's getting there.
even
He's
B-
with his judo training now, he's gotten a lot better.
Yeah,
he is
he
way
is
more
getting
mobile
there.
than he has historically been.
Yeah.
But he's
I was about
probably
to say BJ's big ass moves a lot.
BJ's one of the most athletic dudes on our team. What are you talking about?
He can move.
And he's decidedly not
Dude
a
can
rail.
scoot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's.
BJ at the 3J.
I guess Austin's really not that dynamic.
He skips.
He does, but
He didn't run. He skips and he's gonna lay some freaking thunder on
He
somebody.
is. Definitely is.
We're well over.
What are you worried about?
Okay, I was just
mean,
making
we're-
sure. I'm not tripping. I don't mind.
He still has notes, man.
Let's do it.
Oh, do I?
These all do
Oh,
it.
dude. Oh, we're talking about how to. One note I had was for training differently and stuff like that. Different skills formats and
So you got like striking objectives, grappling objectives, and
Oh yeah, we're talking about
macro
we're
tactics
talking about
objectives. So we
training-
just covered macro and tactics.
Oh, macro and tactics. Where's that? Oh. So we're talking about skill development based on what you're doing, pro fight versus bow hurt. Well, why are we talking about bow hurt? What realistically is like a macro objective? That is something our strategy is trying to achieve or what have you. And every team is different in what it wants to do. But the macro objective for bow hurt is to probably compromise and isolate one person and get them down before you start moving around the field and doing stuff.
Start the steamroll.
Start the steamroll. And that comes through, like, you can achieve that through so many different ways. You can use it through striking pressure. You can use it through grappling pressure. You can use it through movement and stuff like that. It all really depends. But your objective is really to compromise somebody and then take advantage of them being compromised. And that just manifests in a lot of different ways.
Exactly.
Yep. So that you know, but that initial takedown is so critical
Yeah.
to winning the fight because like 98% of fights are won by the team that gets like the
The
first
first
takedown.
takedown.
That your macro that you're trying to do is to get that first takedown.
Yeah.
And you should be trying to put your fighter who's the most likely to get that takedown in a position to get that takedown
As soon as possible.
as soon as that flag drops.
Yeah, and something we're doing now that we're stuck on for a while is we would always put, Brett in the same position over and over again, and then teams started adapting to that, and then they would put their most tankiest dude on him. But Brett being who he is like, I'm gonna throw that guy anyway, and it does work. But we found a better strategy was actually like, what if we just let him go to where he ever wants to go is most valuable to, or like where the weakest fighter is, and then someone else takes the tank.
Well, as we've gotten to be, as each of our fighters have gotten more skill and better, and we are better able to fill in more roles.
Yeah.
Better able to develop
It's
their own
very
fight
easy
styles.
for somebody to walk in and go, "Hey, I need you on that side this round," and you just flip,
Yeah.
right? And that's a lot of these, like in the 5v5. That's because all positions become the same position very quickly.
Yeah.
That's not that big of a deal to do. I think as we evolve in the 10v10s and 12v12s, that's going to be a little bit more difficult. Because you have, like you take what we do with Team Texas with our left rail being the aggressor, the fishing rail, right?
Yeah.
Where we're doing
Charlie's talking about our 10-man team.
our 10-man team.
10-man 16s,
Yep.
I guess.
I get 10s, 16s. Really just 10s.
Yeah.
We done 10s, 16s, but really it's just 10s.
Yeah.
Because we don't, nobody outside of international tournaments does 16s. So
Very true.
Team Texas has fought 16s, but it's really just the 10-man team. And the right rail tends to be your heavier, like they're the anvil to the hammer, right?
Yeah.
So, and you got, and then with the advent of the slot position, that changes kind of what your meta is, right?
Yeah. If people are locked down to, we said it earlier, if people are locked down to what their position is, like, hey bro, I only play a 3, or I only play left 1. It's like you need to be able to play
Whatever your team
2,
needs you.
left 2, right 2, right 1,
Yep.
and 3.
Yep.
Like, I mean,
You have to be capable.
Because the
of it.
problem is you got, especially in 5v5, you have 8 dudes.
we've had scenarios. I mean, dude, you don't know what's gonna happen when you get to a tournament where it's like,
Somebody may put gasoline in your diesel.
someone might put gas in the diesel. Who knows? But like, someone gets an injury, someone's armor gets broke, someone has asthma or COVID. These things have all happened to us
Yeah.
at Carnage, by the way.
Dude, I fought an entire tournament with bronchitis.
He had bronchitis. I had a sinus infection with COVID, and then Brennan tore his hamstring.
Tore hamstring. So
Tore his hamstring in a pro fight. So
we
Yeah.
had 6 fighters total. Only 4 were actually functional.
yeah, DeAndre and Austin fought every single round, and then we had I don't know if it was Arditi or if it was Channing.
I was out 1 round.
Oh, and Sean injured his back.
Yeah, Sean, shit.
Yeah, so we were like 6. We had
Yeah.
6 guys with 1 rotator, and we're like, "What's the strategy?" Okay, we're just putting these people in these places.
Yeah.
We had before when we went to Carnage, and we had Dinky on our team.
Yep.
Where it's like, okay, we have Dinky and 1 rotator again,
Yeah.
and we're just shuffling around people, putting wherever. I was like, at one point, I was right 2 with Charles in the center. We worked off of each other. you just have to be able to play wherever because you don't know what the circumstances
Oh,
of
that
the
was a
engagement are gonna
crazy
be.
tournament. Yeah, because I didn't have shoes.
Charles,
Didn't fight him.
Charles got
Charles
carded
didn't
walking
wear-
into the list.
Charles didn't wear shoes that entire tournament. He was barefoot. He was holding. He had the sabaton tied to the thong between his toes. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Your
Really.
lips. That's
Lawrence just went apoplectic.
yeah. Lawrence was like, never again.
Larry's
Never
over there-
again.
Larry's over there like, I'm checking his shoes next time.
But yeah, I didn't have my fighting shoes because I only had my left one and the right one was at the academy for years hiding from me. And that first day we had
You borrowed some shoes.
and then I borrowed shoes for the second day. And
Brandon was so mad at you that tournament.
he was not happy with me. Woo, he was not happy. And then I pulled my hamstring.
You did. Yeah, you did pull your hand.
After an epic takedown.
Yeah.
Oh, Carnage Curse.
Yeah. We'll fix it.
No, we
Fix
won't. I have no faith
We
in it.
need to have a ritual purge, whatever. It's, you know what it is? It's a demon that inhabits the academy that takes. We have to constantly feed it knees. And right around February, it's like, I haven't eaten a knee in the last 9 months. You're cursed.
The curse, yeah, true.
Dude, so
The tree
the
of
knee
victory
injury
must
is like
be,
our most common injury, dude.
the tree of victory must be watered with the knees of the, of the fallen to avoid the carnage curse.
We have what? 3 people recovering from knee injuries right now?
Yeah, it's
What do you really consider the mythics? Because the mythics have 8 working knees between. Oh, sorry, they have 4 working knees between the 8 of them.
yeah.
Oh my god. So I got a theory on that. Not particularly mythics, but
Oh, right.
people who try to overuse leg pinches.
You mean the victim or the perp?
Either one. It's just, I think it's bad training. Because it doesn't happen that often in armor. I've been leg pinched once in armor.
Well, also the way to get out of the leg pinch is to put the person leg pinching you
Yeah.
in danger.
Yes.
Like-
And you can just like hang on to them. They can't throw you. But
Or also like
it is-
stomp
we
through.
we,
100% bad
we,
technique.
we train it an outsized amount for its effect in armor, for its actual effect in armor, and I think that leads to a lot more knee injuries.
Okay.
No one that I've known that competes on our teams has gotten injured from the knee
From the leg
pinch.
pinch, yeah.
They've
I
got-
think it wears the knee out to where something else happens
Okay.
because everybody's like, they're like, oh, a couple of times, and then suddenly it's gone, right? And you don't think about the times that you've twinged your knee at practice.
Oh yeah, start tearing the meniscus
and
a little bit.
and I think we see a lot more knee injuries because of these kinds of things that happen
Yeah.
over time and just
It's wear and tear.
whereas if we didn't teach new fighters that tactic
Okay.
right off the bat, they wouldn't rely on it, and we would have a lot less injuries at practice overall.
Yeah, probably if teams are looking to like get better at bow hurt, like I would probably say teach your newer guys how to wrestle. It's better defensively. It also
Judo.
teaches core offensive movement where you're like talking about snap downs, we're talking about pushing, pulling, and stuff like that. It's great. I think it also teaches you about hand fighting and limb manipulation. And learn the judo. But give it some time to learn those things, dude.
Yeah.
You can be a brand new person. Like I learned this new move. It's called a soto, and you throw it, and you instantly suplex or suplex someone's knee
Yeah.
from the side, and you just like tore their ACL.
So that's again.
I mean, even
there's-
doing a hump and bump, you go for the hump and bump, you turn them
then
before
your-
you've
then your
actually
knee's gone.
moved their leg out of the way. Just gone.
Yep. So there, and again, that's a lot of that is to do with. So, I think one of the reasons I don't get injured as often at tournaments and stuff is because I'm not an explosive fighter.
Could be. Brett did explode his own ACL
You're right, he did.
on a move.
And I think because of that, I'm better able to organize my movements in a manner that's not going to get me injured. And I'm thinking specifically because like I can pull my shoulder out of socket just from previous injuries. So I can feel that start to happen and go, no, we're going to shift and then do the thing.
Yeah.
Right. Or if I throw this guy might fall on my leg. Let's not do that. Right. Because I tend, but now that said, I can't throw you in 5 seconds right after flag starts most of the time.
Yeah.
Right. So
I
there's
mean-
so
But it is a physical fluency thing. Like you played football, you are an active.
Now, in
human
football, I
being.
was way more explosive, but I was also injured all the
Right,
fucking
but
time.
but I mean, like you have athleticism and physical fluency where you can move around and probably not hurt yourself. Charles is fine. He only has ever gotten injured sprinting.
Charles only has 20s and 1s on his die.
Yeah.
He didn't crit.
That's it.
Yeah, straight up.
I watched him roll a 20, backed up by a 1.
There's 3
in
sections
Omaha,
on the
where
die
he-
that says "Get mine," and on the back it says "Get got." It should be.
Yeah, straight up.
Just for a reference, because I think it's a funny story. We were out coming back from Carnage, and Charles is like,
God.
Charles decided to have a foot race
It's
with
with
BJ. And Charles like, nah, young man, you don't want none of this.
Nah,
and
bro.
BJ's like, I
BJ
got it.
smoked you.
No,
I have
that is
video.
not, that is not
There's
true.
going to be a video
That is
right
not-
here.
That is not
right
true.
here.
I
of
was
this
winning
foot
that race. I was winning that race.
He was
It's
winning
right
that race.
here. He was not winning.
I was about. And the thing that's crazy, it sucks so bad because I've seen this exact same thing happen to cars before, and what happens is they gear down and their transmission goes. That's exactly what happened, dog. Because I was starting, and you can see in the video, I'm taking my steps and I
So
get
he
up,
tried to grab another gear in
and
his
I'm like,
transmission.
this is it right here, and I geared down in my transmission. I said, oh.
You heard a tire explode, you heard the wheels squealing, bro.
Like that man, and BJ's what, 23?
He's 23,
Yeah, he's 23 and I'm 31. I shouldn't. Yeah,
Dude, BJ's crazy, though.
Yeah.
Have you guys talked about BJ before?
Oh yeah.
we had a whole podcast called All About the BJs.
Dude, did you talk about him cold deadlifting 465?
No.
Brennan got done deadlift. He's like, I hit 465 again. It's been a year since my back injury. I feel really good. BJ walks into practice, just saunters in, and he's like, BJ, you think he can lift that? He's like, I don't know. Walks over, got flip-flops on, picks it up cold. Didn't even struggle with it. And Brennan just looked at him. I looked at Brennan, looked at BJ, and Brennan's like, do that again. He's like, I should probably warm up before I do it again. He's like,
cold.
And he's like, I'm not gonna lie, watching a D1 football player cold lift 465 really just made me feel bad about my entire existence.
He is wrestling and grappling with the heaviest guys on the field every single play. He was
The
a
man is
defensive
the only
tackle.
dude in
Yeah.
the sport that, like,
He's football Conan.
BJ, I hate this, and I hate the fact that you can do this. It annoys me more than anything else in this world.
Mm-hmm.
I am 250 fucking pounds. I'm a grown-ass adult.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
fact that this man can pick me up and throw me like I do my little children on the bed when
Yeah.
we wrestle annoys me.
He is so funny.
Like, once you're picked up off the ground, you can't do
Yeah,
anything.
you're just there.
You're just along for the ride.
like a dog in air gel when they got the little. You just pick them up and they're just like.
Yeah, BJ was new when he was new. I had him in a front guillotine. I was like, I got BJ. I say out loud, and BJ
He
goes,
goes, "Do you?" I remember
And just
that.
stood up, and I was like, oh, that's right. You probably do. You could probably do what's it called? A 315-pound good morning. I ain't shit. Like I was like, this may have to revise how I think about D1 football players.
Or like, I'll throw BJ. Like, I'll hit him with the what's the one where you rip him over your thigh from side control?
Oh, from this.
From side control to.
I don't know.
It's a pure.
Tani Atoshi.
It's a pure strength move. You just
Yeah.
You failed on your hip toss. Go the other way now.
Yeah.
And I can usually throw someone across the list with this move. Like, they're going for a ride.
Not BJ.
BJ's like, what if I didn't? And then you're like, I hate you so much. You were so freak nasty strong.
Yeah.
That is BJ in a nutshell.
It's the future. You know, it's a drip.
Can you
Charlie?
imagine a whole team of BJs?
I mean, he got family we're trying to recruit.
Yeah.
He does have family we're trying to recruit. You know who else has family? Chad.
Yeah,
Kenya.
yeah.
If they get more Chads on that team,
It's some cruddy crap, bull crap.
Oh man.
I miss the days when Kenyans was all hobbits.
Yeah, they're hobbits. They're hobbits are gonna make a lineup now.
What is this? I think that's all of them, isn't it?
That's all.
That's all. We had all of them?
Our first 2-part episode right here.
For two-part? No.
No,
We're doing two-part.
We can do a 2-part. I'll come back.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is like we're probably gonna have to upload this in 2 parts. And I think that's it. I think that's really cool. Actually,
We're not going to be doing this in 2 parts.
you don't want to upload it in 2 parts?
Do you know I have to do how much more editing that cost? No.
He said no.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Well, enjoy this.
You're getting a super long episode.
Enjoy this
time.
2-hour episode.
Freaking 2 hours.
We're gonna use this as a test bed to see maybe they should all be 2 hours.
Honestly, yeah. We're gonna be like the JRE in here and have a
3 hour.
3 hour
Pull that
episode.
shit up, Jamie. Pull that shit
Pull
up.
that shit up right now.
As we pan over to Charlie's children, be like,
Hey, look, I'm working on it. My Jamie had to go to bed.
It's past Jamie's bedtime.
young Jamie.
My sound engineer had to go to sleep.
Yeah, I don't know. His voice might be too deep for bedtime, Doug. He was straight up like yeah, I gotta go to bed. Like, who is this?
My dad's so gonna go to bed.
Excuse me?
Dude, for real, I remember when he was in 5th grade, and they had him doing he got pulled to do the commencement or whatever for the 5th grade graduation. And he's up there reading these lines, and I was actually sitting with one of the previous, former New York Sentinel.
Okay, nice.
One of his best friends lives down the street, and his dad fought with the New York Sentinels when he lived in New York.
Oh, that's really cool. That's
Okay.
really cool.
Actually athletic dude, has no intention to fight ever again, but he fought with the New York Sentinels. And so we're sitting there talking that stuff, and I hear my kid up there doing his bit, and then I hear mid-sentence, he goes, "Bah, bah, 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 bah." And I'm like, did his voice just drop?
Before
leveled
our
up,
very
dude.
eyes. Yeah, he saw
And
that.
I looked at my wife, and she's like, "You heard that?" I was like, "I heard that." And his voice has been that way ever since.
Yeah, it happened before. He grew up before your very
There was
eyes.
no squeaky, cracky. No, he just his nuts dropped right there in front of God and everybody.
It's like, well,
Just boom.
and Charlie's never been more proud in his life.
It's so nice getting a judo with him because he's such a nice kid. I was like, man, I'm gonna really hate the day when you actually decide to like find your physical like competitiveness. 'Cause right now he's kind of like, I don't know what to do, and you sweep and he's like, oh crap. And one day he's just gonna be like, I'm gonna feel like Cat Williams where he's like gonna grab me and I'm like, unhand me. I'm a grown man, Darian. Unhand me.
That's literally what it's like fighting BJ.
Yeah.
Unhand me. I'm gonna hit him with that next time we practice.
You look at him and go, excuse me, excuse me,
Dude,
excuse me.
That actually does work in the list. That has
Yeah,
got,
it
that has
does.
gotten me out of so many accents. Just act like you're offended that they walked up.
Figuring out like trying to get good one-liners in a melee match is the shit.
Yeah, it
Yes,
is.
dude.
Charlie's got like a million of them that have legitimately worked. Two that one happened to me and one I did to somebody else was Tio. You know, Tio had you in a headlock, and I was hitting Tio, and he's like, "Go away," and I was like, I literally went to walk away. I was like, "Wait a minute," and I was like, "No," and I just hit the shit out of him more. He's like, "Oh man." And another time was when we were at freaking Reno. As I was running 200 acts, I ran up to Aaron Netzer, and I said, "Excuse me, sir, go down." And he said, "What?" And I fucking smoked him in the knee as hard as I could. He went, "Ah!" I just took Brendan with him.
Team kill.
I didn't give him enough time to reply. I was like, "No, that's too long. Half a second was too long." I said, "Hands up, shoot."
I think
God.
the best one is when there was one fighter that hit Austin in the back of the neck, and it was like a 4-on-2. We had brought a bunch of new fighters to the event. Everybody else kept going down, and me and Austin had fought like 5 4-on-2s at this chapter match that day. And dude hits Austin in the back of the neck and then runs away. Austin is livid. I put the two guys up. I put one guy down, dumped the guy over that body. Austin throws the guy that he's got, and we turn and look, and that guy's all the way at the other end of the field. He's got a cape on.
Okay.
And
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
What?
And I step out from the list, and Austin steps out from his takedown, and I was like, "Kneel," and he hits the dirt.
Yeah.
Where was this at?
This was this was one
Some
of the real
frozen
early, it was an early war in
northwest-
the north. It was an
No,
early one.
was it War in the North?
Yeah, it was when it was me, you, and Austin took
You know
a
what you
bunch
shoulda
of
done?
movies.
So
Grabbed his fucking cape up over his head, wrapped
dude.
it around, and then choked him out with his own cape.
the dude takes the knee, hits the ground, and he's like visible confusion, like, why did I just do that?
Superpowers.
And then Austin goes, "Of course you fucking," and he starts tirading this dude because he just hit him in the back of the neck, and Austin was fixing to murder him, and now that has been taken away from him. And the refs had to escort Austin out the list. It's the only time I've ever seen Austin actually angry in the list.
Austin gets the Bohurt equivalent of.
And he wasn't mad that once the dude hit him. It was the fact that I took his opportunity to murder him away.
Austin was like, I'm getting you back for that.
If you think about that, Austin uses a two-handed axe. And it really breathes new life into the phrase emotional edging. Homie's just edging the whole time. This one he's called Super Goon. He's a super goon.
Terrible.
Just gooning, bro.
Terrible.
Oh my god.
Terrible.
I did not think that would come up. I did not think that would come back up.
Gooning?
That's crazy.
Y'all are terrible.
Oh my god.
That's BJ too. BJ is gooning.
Just
One day we'll get Austin and BJ together, and there's like they'll run around like Tasmanian devils.
Can you
just
imagine putting
consuming
our
body.
biggest dude on the lineup?
What?
Our biggest dudes on one lineup.
That'd be
That
awesome.
5-man would be like just.
beefy.
It'd be
You
Call
got
it
Charles,
beef.
you got Austin, you got BJ. It would almost be big as Kenya's lineup.
well, yeah. Sometimes, Pete's on our lineup too. Sometimes
Pete's also on Kenya's, so
Yeah, we'll exclude him, but yeah, that's
It
a lot of
would
meat.
be
that's a lot of beef.
Me, you, Brennan.
Am I on that lineup? No.
Yeah, you're one of our. I don't know who's heavier than you, really.
I guess it's me, you, Austin, Brennan,
BJ,
Cyrus. How
Yeah.
big Cyrus? Cyrus bigger than me?
250.
Cyrus is
So it'd be Cyrus. Yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
Cyrus. Yeah. Actually, you'd have to remove Brennan. It'd be Cyrus. Brennan's a small boy now.
Brennan's 230, 240.
Oh,
He's 240.
He's a small.
Am I
That's
heavier than
fucking
Brennan
weird,
now?
dude.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is weird when you're like, Brennan and Brett are small and they're both like 240. And I'm like, dude, if you ever see Brett in a judo class, he looks like an adult in a children's class.
Yeah.
You don't think about it. You're like, oh, you're 5'11", 240. And it's like, I never think about how tall he is. I'm like, you're not, in
Dude,
my
I
head, it's
can't-
not that big. Bro.
So our judo instructor at the academy is not a large dude.
He's 5 foot 555 pounds.
So
And Taylor's strong as shit.
yeah, Taylor Weber will throw me around like a rag doll. He is a
Really good teacher
world
too.
champion judo and sambo.
Really good
black belt
teacher.
instructor. Awesome dude. We're gonna try to get him on the podcast hopefully next week.
It'd be good to talk about competitions and stuff.
Competitions, what it's like to cross train for Who Hurt.
Yeah.
So he's also just a very, 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 very good grappler.
Man, we got 5 minutes. We're talking about the one thing I want to talk about today.
Oh yeah.
You know what got brought up?
What?
When you guys are talking about PEDs and we're talking about the legal cheating. Legal
yeah,
cheating.
yeah.
And I was like, bro, why is it always the people who are like, man, people shouldn't do gear, people shouldn't do PEDs or whatever? I'm like, most of those people smoke weed 24/7 or during a tournament. Like that's just a PED.
Not me.
Charles doesn't. Charles don't smoke.
You dudes hitting a vape in the tournament. I'm like, really?
Bro, I will say I feel like a real adult because I've been being a bad boy and started on my cigarettes. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna come off of the out of the list, take my helmet off, and light up a cigarette.
Charles, you have the
Asthma.
worst asthma.
That's why it's cool.
Real.
Stupid.
Real.
But yeah, like
But no, yeah. Everybody who complains about PEDs is like, it's like, bro, you're high right now typing this.
Yeah.
I can see it, yeah.
Or they don't fight.
Or they don't fight, yeah. True.
I think so. I think specifically in our sport, I don't care about them.
Yeah.
Largely because they don't have the outsized impact that they do in other sports.
Yeah, because the armor kind of, I feel like it. did
you're not
it.
an nth percentile person who's also on gear.
Yeah,
You're just
exactly.
like a normal dude.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
you're a
Okay.
dad bod hero that is slightly less dad bod hero.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the majority of people on some kind of TRT. In our sport, it tends to be TRT.
Yeah,
It tends
'cause
not.
our
It
sport
tends
turns
not to be
older.
like a superhuman replacement or super physiological levels of TRT.
Right.
It tends to be just at maximal human level.
Right. And I mean, most people I know who are on TRT, those people actually had low T. And then
Yeah, they're back to normal
they're
now.
back to, most of them.
Yeah.
Some of them are
Yeah.
not. Some of them are like up there. But like they don't
Hey.
take other types of gear that
I
normally
mean-
gives you benefits.
Superhuman physiological. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, we don't test for it.
Yeah.
We don't test for anything.
Nothing.
Nothing.
We don't even test armor thickness
No need.
or what your half's made out of.
Yeah.
You could have aluminum armor. Nobody would know.
You can have plastic armor. People do it.
Yeah.
What?
I'm not telling you.
That's crazy.
Hey, no, you can totally wear plastic armor. Just wear an Eastern kit with fucking loose pants.
If you have plastic covered in cloth,
Nobody cares.
no one would know.
Interesting.
Plastic's pretty good.
Hey, look, we
It ain't me.
We have
It's not me. I'm
we
not
have an
cheating.
episode coming of all of this stuff. I'm taking people have been diving in the DMs. Let me know other ways that they are edging the rules, shall we say?
There's that word again. Yo, this is
Edging the AC committee.
so apparently when it gets past an hour, we start getting wild. So that's why the episode.
This is Love After Dark.
Love After Dark.
Who heard his love after
Oh,
dark?
dude, we could do that.
Wait, hang on.
We'll just start taking shots, saying stupid shit about armor combat. That'd be awesome.
So we
That's my
got
fave.
a future episode once we get enough of them built up of all the ways that people
That's gonna
like
be-
to bend the rules.
That's gonna be great. I'm so excited for that.
So
become
I
ungovernable.
mean, just because cheating legally is our most viewed episode by like
God,
3 or 4
yeah,
times.
Yeah, like degrees of magnitude.
So
Straight up.
people click on the episode and they're like, "What do they got? The
They're like,
sauce."
oh man.
It turns out
this is
like
the Warlord's secrets.
Yeah.
I mean, the warlords that like honestly like we don't have outright cheating in the sport because you don't want to be that guy
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
True.
because you'll just get wrecked.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy to make someone's day the last day they'll ever be in the list that you don't want to be that guy.
Yeah,
Our
very
sport is very self-policing that way.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we were talking about when y'all two, they both got illegally kicked in the knee at a tournament
Yeah.
in Mexico.
I'm the same dude.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even on the field at the time I was coaching, and I was like, our whole team was fuming because this dude had like kicked like 6 people in the front of the knee. And I don't mean like oopsie daisy a little bit, but
was
like
just
this dude was
like,
like
boom.
snap down, front kick to the knee,
Yeah.
trying to get your foot to sweep out, but it just suplexes your knee or whatever.
Yeah.
And we're like all leaving the tournament because it was getting dark time, and we knew we were coming back the next day to do more melees, and we're like, put me in, I'll just cross chop block that dude's
Yep.
knee,
Yeah.
which
Well,
is totally legal to do. It's just a
so
dickhead thing to do.
That is exactly what I explained to the
Marshall.
marshals because they asked me when I came back the next day. They're like, "Do you think he should be back in the list?" And I'm like, "Here's the deal. He's a danger to me and my teammates.
Yeah.
And if I see him in the list, I'm going to cut block him, and he'll never play again."
Cut block, yeah.
And that's the thing is the
And-
cut block is completely legal.
And they were like, "That's all we needed to know." And then he got red carded.
Yeah.
Which he should have been red carded anyway. Like,
True.
you don't need to ask me to red card. Like,
Yeah.
It's a self-governing process. Don't be a dickhead.
yeah. So, and our sport is typically not full of dickheads,
Yeah, all those guys got injured.
or they quit real fast.
Or they quit real fast. Or they got canceled.
All right. So, anything else? I think we need to wrap
And I
up. We
think-
got 3
I
minutes
think-
before the
I think
cameras
we've-
die.
We've covered everything we need to. We gonna have you back, Adam?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah.
You know, we talked 14 hours in a row driving to fucking South Carolina.
Yeah.
You know, I'm talking
I mean, this
more.
is literally just 3 dudes bullshit about Boo Hurt. So,
That would be a cool
Oh, can
live stream.
I self-plug?
Yeah, go for it.
go ahead, dude.
If anybody needs fitness services or strength and conditioning coach, I'm on Facebook. Look me up, Adam Harrigan.
Yeah. He's good.
I have a whole chat group.
Yeah. He's got a whole ton of
Great.
people that pay him for this already. You should too.
A couple.
Like a million.
One day I'll do it full time. One day.
One day.
Right now, just
All
a
right.
little bit.
This has been Boo Hurt is Love. I'm Charlie.
I'm Charles.
I'm Adam Harrigan. We're sponsored by Monster Energy Drinks.
No, we're not.
No,
we're
we're
sponsored by we are sponsored by Artisan Dice. Check out artisandice.com and use code BooHurtIsLove at checkout.
Get your free set
Get
of
your free
dice.
set of dice. Also, don't forget to hit our merch at merch.boohurtislove.com. And your shirts you can get right now are here, and over there.
God.